Tropicana Field, home of the red-hot Rays, owners of the best record in baseball, welcome Red Sox Nation to the Gulf Coast of Florida. Behind the strength of standout rookie Evan Longoria, the hometown nine look to sweep Manny and the Red Sox for the second time this season. Coming up next on Wednesday Night Baseball. From Tropicana Field in St. Petersburg, Florida, which overnight may have become the toughest place to win in baseball, it's the Boston Red Sox and the best in the majors, Tampa Bay Rays, who have turned the AL East on its ear. Tampa Bay came into this series with the defending world champs calling it the biggest in franchise history, and the Rays came out smoking. Monday in Game 1, B.J. Upton wasted no time putting the Rays on the board, blasting the first pitch he got from Justin Masterson. And in the fourth inning, it was Gabe Gross homering to right field for a 3-1 Rays lead. Tampa Bay would hold on for an exciting 5-4 victory. Last night, Tampa Bay continued their strong pitching as Matt Garza tossed 7 outstanding innings. He allowed 1 unearned run. Rays catcher Dioner Navarro provided the offense. He snapped a 1-1 tie with an RBI single in the fourth, and then knocked in an insurance run in the 8th inning as the Rays wrapped up Game 2 of the series 3-1. The turnaround for Tampa Bay has been remarkable. Look at where this club was a year ago at this time after 83 games and where they are tonight after 83. They're beginning to show the country the Rays are for real in 2008, and tonight they go for the sweep of the Red Sox. Welcome to Tropicana, everybody. Dave O'Brien along with Orel Hershiser. Delighted to be joined by you at home, and also Aaron Andrews with us in just a couple of moments. And Orel, you go back a year ago, and in fact, year after year for the last 8 years, everybody has been looking up at the Boston Red Sox and the New York Yankees. This is the first time in 8 years that somebody other than those two teams is leading this division in July. The question is, can they continue to do it into September?
Well, I think they'll be there in September because they not only have a 1-2 punch, they have a 1-2-3 punch, and that third one tonight is Scott Kazmir, Matt Garza, James Shields, and now Scott Kazmir at 24 years old, the franchise leader in wins, ERA, quality starts, innings pitched. At 24, I was still in AAA. Impressive young man. And currently, since 2005, 9.65 strikeouts per 9 innings. That leads the major leagues.
Well, Kazmir and their outstanding pitching, one reason why they are in first place. Aaron Andrews, another, is certainly Joe Maddon and a culture of winning that the manager has created inside their clubhouse.
Dave, these Rays players say they love Joe Maddon. The amount of respect that he has for his players is the same for the vets as it is for the young guys. Cliff Lloyd told me it's like playing for Jim Leland. He knows the games, he knows situations, he goes with the players with the right tools. Evan Longoria said we needed a chance, we needed a place to believe in ourselves. Joe Maddon has given us that. Joe Maddon jokes around and says, look, I didn't create anything new here, just all the concepts, everything that we talked about in spring training, it's finally paying off and they're winning, Dave.
I think you can see just how loosey-goosey they are heading into Game 3 against the mighty Red Sox. Now, the Red Sox are without David Ortiz, Orel. They are finally, it seems, beginning to feel that pinch a little bit, that void in the lineup, despite a great month of June out of J.D. Drew.
Well, they need someone to step up, and that someone needs to be Manny Ramirez. He's the all-time home run leader and RBI leaders against the Rays. 41 home runs, 142 RBIs against the Rays, and he's the #1 in this dome with 25 home runs. So you know what? Manny needs to step up, but he's been getting beat by fastballs. He's hitting 185 in the last 8 games. So if he's going to do it, that's going to help. But they can't get swept here right now at all. That's bad for Boston.
Well, the man who is trying to make sure his slump continues is Scott Kazmir, always brutally tough against the Red Sox. With a 2.82 ERA against them, he'll be opposed by 9-1 Daisuke Matsuzaka.
ESPN Wednesday Night Baseball, brought to you by Lotrimin Ultra, the killer cure, and Edward Jones, making sense of investing.
Back in St. Petersburg, Florida, the Red Sox and the Rays, and Terry Francona's team is scuffling along on a 1-4 road trip that has seen them drop 4 consecutive games. Here's a look at his Pizza Hut starting lineup. And at the top for Boston, the speedy Jacoby Ellsbury, and then the hottest hitter the Red Sox have going right now in Dustin Pedroia. He's hitting 9 in a row, and he hits Scott Kazmir very, very well. J.D. Drew was just awarded American League Player of the Month for the month of June. He hit 12 home runs. Manny Ramirez, as Orel mentioned, is cold right now coming into the finale of the series. Facing the lefty Scott Kazmir, he is 7-3. A 2.28 ERA, and probably the last guy the Red Sox wanted to face tonight as Tampa Bay goes for the 3-game sweep.
Well, he's 4-1 here at home, and he has been outstanding. An electric arm. His last outing struggled a little bit with his off-speed stuff, has really tried to rely on his changeup and his slider, but has lost the feel for his slider because he's thrown so many changeups. So we'll see tonight what sequence he goes with.
Their defense has been awfully good. A big, big story for the Rays. At third base, Evan Longoria. Don Zimmer has been around the game for 60 years. He says Longoria is as good as he has ever seen. That includes Mike Schmidt, Brooks Robinson, anyone you want to mention. How about the play last night?
Well, 2 outs, man on first. This game is still within balance. There's a runner on first, and that means that ball down the line would have been a double and scored a run. Boston would have still been in it. Only a 3-1 victory. At that time, it was 2-1. He pretty much saved the game with his glove.
3-1 the final. Tampa Bay has won the first 2. And they continue to stun the American League East and continue to draw very, very well here lately. Another sellout here. This is their 4th of the season. And the fans have finally begun to catch on that they have a product they may be watching into October here in 2008, believe it or not. Jacoby Ellsbury getting in, hitting .271, 5 homers, 24 runs batted in. Joe Madden has everybody in this part of Florida believing in Rays baseball. And here we go, the hard-throwing lefty Kazmir with his first pitch. And that is low for ball 1. We are underway. Ellsbury starting in center field. He has for every game in the series. Probably would not have tonight in all likelihood as they're facing a left-hander. But Coco Crisp is serving the last game of that suspension. His 5-game suspension for his role in the June 5th brawl at Tampa Bay, against Tampa Bay at Fenway Park.
And Ellsbury is the spark at top of this lineup. Had been cold of late, but last night collected a couple hits. Some people thought he should have had 3.
Slap towards short. Bartlett, who's made 10 errors, guns it on to first base. He's been pretty solid. Everybody has on their infield. 1 man out for Boston. Kazmir, 24 years old, born in Houston, Texas, and really has emerged as the ace of this young staff. Every one of their starters is 26 or younger.
And coming out of spring training, had some tenderness in his arm, has not had a complete year, but got back on track early. He's had elbow and shoulder tendonitis.
Here's Pedroia hitting .303. The pesky second baseman, one of the toughest men to strike out in the American League.
He has really carried this team. It's amazing how far he has come in 2 years. You know, we think how great he is now, probably going to be the all-star second baseman. But when he first got here, you could knock the bat out of his hands. You know, he's hitting .115 in May last year, and you're thinking the Boston's made a big mistake as a top-round draft pick. They're going to rely on this young man, and he has just been phenomenal.
Just ask Scott Kazmir. 10 out of 18 against the left-hander. So he has carved up the southpaw. The 1-1 pitch. He waves and misses. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Well, when Kazmir is hitting his spots, he is almost unhittable. His delivery is very, very deceptive. Hides the ball very well. And then the electricity, the ball comes out of his hand, and the great late movement. We'll watch the targets tonight and see if he's hitting his spots.
Rake, but foul as he hooked that one down the left field line. J.D. Drew is on deck. And, of course, for all the talk about the terrific defense, and Manny Ramirez and J.D. Drew and Carlos Pena and everybody else on both sides, this one might just come down to the men on the hill tonight. Matsuzaka is 9-1. And the Red Sox hope that after his shoulder fatigue and his last start where he went 5 innings, that he is back on the beam. The 1-2. Now all even on Pedroia. And Pedroia with 11 hits and 21 at-bats on this road trip for the Red Sox. But for Red Sox Nation, the unfortunate thing is most of his teammates have not followed suit. They've had a very disappointing trip. It started out in Houston. 2-2 smack toward left, backing up Crawford, still backing up at Sales, and that one's gone. Pedroia continues to knock Kazmir silly. And just like that, it is 1-0 Boston. A hot bat, and against the pitcher he flat out owns, and you could almost predict it was going to be a good night for Pedroia, off to a good start for Terry Francona.
Well, we talked about the Boston offense being flat and someone was going to need to pick them up. Manny Ramirez in an 8-game slump, batting 185. This is the previous pitch. You see how far Scott Kazmir misses his target. So now he's going fastball in. He hits his target, but he's coming in there and he's got to elevate and he's trying to throw a strike. And to a guy who owns you and he's got confidence up there, that's trouble.
A little more than halfway through the season, and Pedroia has hit more home runs than he did all of last year. Look what he's done against Kazmir, who just might walk him the next time. J.D. Drew here hitting .299, 16 homers. He's driven in 50. He hit a home run in Game 1 of this series. He's cooled off a little bit, but Drew today named the American League Player of the Month for June. He had 12 homers in June and just stalled to the ball. A fly to center, up and driven back, but with room to make the catch. And there are 2 down.
And where are the Red Sox without J.D. Drew's June? You know, are the Rays farther out in front in first place, and not as big a surprise right now, but an earlier surprise earlier in the month?
I think without question, Drew really saved them on the very day that Ortiz went on the disabled list. Well, here's Manny Ramirez. Red Sox fans for years have been coming here to Tropicana Field and outdrawing Rays fans by about 3-1. Those days are a memory now, as there are more Rays fans here than ever before. As Ramirez takes outside for ball 1. You mentioned over his last 16 games slumping badly. 10 out of 54. He's hitting 185 over that span.
Now for me, he's been getting beat by the fastball, and that's a rarity for Manny Ramirez.
In there for a called strike.
And he was facing James Shields and Matt Garza. I thought Manny was into the at-bats, but the adrenaline was getting to his leg kick. His leg kick was getting very high. So he was trying to hit him, but the fastball, when the leg kick gets high, the foot doesn't get down, the bat slows down.
Yeah, the Red Sox talk about it. Manny has too. In fact, he's talked a lot more this year than ever before to the press. He's been quite open, and he's talked about balance. Balance being the key to the whole thing for him. And since June 11th, he's been out of balance. The 2-1 drifting downstairs. 3 balls and 1 strike on Ramirez.
You know, what's amazing about this game, it is just a sequence or grouping of hot and cold streaks, and the greatest and the best have short cold streaks and long hot streaks. And right now, Manny, he really needs to get out of this for the Red Sox.
Boy, he took a swing. Certainly not cheated. Now 3-2. Fastball at 92 from Kazmir. Dustin Pedroia has put the Red Sox in the lead with a solo shot on Scott Kazmir. Now trying to get one of the toughest hitters in the game, who's gone cold lately. The payoff pitch, and he just got a piece of it to hang in there. Mike Lowell on deck for Boston.
2 fastballs, the last 2 pitches, now a 3-2 count. The fastball he swung through on the inner half, almost the same exact pitch that Dustin Pedroia hit for the home run. And then Manny chases the high fastball.
Base is empty, 2 men out. And the 3-2. He got him. He struck him out swinging, and the side is retired. Kazmir allowing a first-inning run for the first time in 11 starts. And it's Dustin Pedroia, his nemesis, who takes him out of Tropicana Field. Daisuke goes to work with a 1-0 lead for the Red Sox when we return. These are exciting days for Joe Maddon and the Tampa Bay Rays, having held or tied for first place 26 days this season. They're up by 2.5 in the division right now over the Boston Red Sox. A much bigger lead over the Yankees. Here's a look at the starting lineup presented by Pizza Hut. And Dion Navarro hits out of the 7th spot, but he's hitting over 300. And Joe Maddon says he probably belongs in the All-Star game.
Well, he's been hitting over 300 all year long, and that is huge for a guy who's batting .227 last year. But they had some big conversations with him. Joe Maddon really thought that this kid needed to mature, and he has.
Matsuzaka 9-1. This is his third start since coming off the DL for shoulder tenderness.
Threw the ball better his last start.
First man he faces, Akinura Iwamura, and a little ground ball to Pedroia, who's up and over in time for out number 1.
With Dice K, you know, you look at the scouting report, continuing momentum from a good start in Houston. He went 5 innings, gave up no earned runs, but that is in response to 1 inning plus and giving up 7 against St. Louis in his first start back from the shoulder tenderness. He's still picking around the plate. They want him to get more aggressive and throw strikes. It's absolutely frustrating for Boston and a lot of the fans to see a guy with this much ability still pick.
Here's Carl Crawford, the speedy left fielder, taking his strike. He checks in at .272 with 8 homers. Carl Crawford has seen more losing than any Tampa Bay player ever has. The Rays' longest tenured player. He's been here since 2002. He is in an 0 for 17 skid coming into tonight. He'll be followed by B.J. Upton. Tampa Bay, the biggest story in baseball, you'd have to say right now. Even if they were not a first place team, even if they were, you know, even 3, 4, 5 back, Orel, it'd still be a great story. It would still be a remarkable turnaround. Yeah, and the turnaround really, for me, started with when they remade their bullpen. You look at bringing in Troy Percival, you look at bringing in Dan Wheeler. J.P. Howell is a starter that was probably not going to make the team, that Joe Maddon steps up and says, you know what, I think he'd fit great in our bullpen. He starts to really do well. Grant Balfour down there in their bullpen this is one of the worst bullpens in big league history last year. And now they're winning the games they're supposed to win. The young guys have a lot of confidence. And those guys down there have really done a number. You know, we could talk about their starting pitching with Garza and Shields and now Kazmir here tonight. And we can talk about the young offense and the speed and the defense that they play. But if they weren't finishing games off and Joe Maddon didn't step up and say, we need to rebuild this bullpen now, I think this team can win, we wouldn't be here today with this story. The 3-2 to Crawford, and he's on. That is ball 4. Right to the point that you were mentioning about Matsuzaka and all those walks. That's now 45 of them in 70 in the third innings. The count was 1-2 there. Defensively now for the Red Sox, young Brandon Moss is in left field. Ellsbury in center. He's a rookie as well. J.D. Drew in right. They have Gold Gloves at third, catcher, and first base, but Ellsbury has moved around all 3 outfield spots. Played at least 10 games in every one of those positions. You think about the responsibility of a young man, a rookie, taking on center field, left field, right field, and understanding the whole game. And then you're playing for the world champions. Leading off every day, as you mentioned, and has to score runs for them. The pitch outside for a ball on B.J. Upton. He's their number 3 hitter. Not a typical 3-hole guy. You see only 6 home runs out of Upton. And he slipped into the leadoff position when Iwamura was on his suspension from the altercation that they had here with Boston earlier in the year. He's driven in 41. You saw the high on base percentage. Softly toward Pedroia. Lunges. Got the out there on the throw. And Upton will become the runner at first base. He did get Crawford on the throw into the shortstop covering Julio Lugo, and there are 2 gone. Well, Dustin Pedroia had to process an awful lot on this little routine ground ball because of speed. Carl Crawford is going to get on top of him early. Is he going to charge it through the baseline and make the play at first? Is he going to get him at second? Is he going to tag him? And he gets it enough to have his wherewithal to know that he's far enough from second base to get him out with the throw. Very heady play, and it's the kind of thing you were talking about before. The Red Sox really lean on Pedroia to do a lot of things defensively and at the bat to move people over, hit behind the runner. And Crawford is out. That'll bring up Carlos Pena at .226, 11 homers, 37 runs batted in. He just came back from the DL on Friday. He had suffered a fractured left index finger when he was hit by a pitch in early June and missed 19 games. It was his left index finger, and Carlos says it's still broken, and that's why you will see him holding that finger off the bat ever so slightly before he puts the pressure on it to take the swing. He wants to keep as much pressure off it as he can. Well, the bottom hand in hitting is usually the power, and the top hand is the accuracy hand. So we'll see if it affects his contact, if he can hit balls solid. Two out, runner goes. A check swing pitch into the dirt, no throw. So Upton has it stolen without a throw on the play. He is into scoring position. This team runs and runs and runs. That is 91 stolen bases now. Tops in the majors for Tampa Bay.
He just steals it on Dice K. Jason Varitek has no shot, especially with a breaking ball in the dirt. Dice K didn't even know he was going. He was looking for a check swing call.
Remember, Pena now drove in 121 runs a season ago. Had a phenomenal year, although not many people noticed because it was on the club with the worst record in the big leagues. He also hit 46 home runs.
He also was just a spring training invitee that year.
2 balls, 1 strike.
Didn't know he was going to be on the team until about 2-3 days before they broke camp. Then once they broke camp, he wasn't in the opening day lineup. Didn't play for a good week or so before he even saw the field. But he was the happiest guy on earth just to get back in the big leagues.
And the gifted young third baseman Longoria on deck. Pena trying to pick up the tying run. The Red Sox lead it 1-0 on the Pedroia home run. Now time is asked for and granted to Pena.
And that becomes a little bit of a cat and mouse game. Sometimes you'd think it's strategy between Pena and Dice K, and other times you think Jason Varitek just doesn't have enough fingers with a man on second to get the sign to Dice K as many pitches as he likes to throw.
He has about 5 or 6 of them. The 2-1 pitch, the breaking ball a little bit high.
Well, you can have 5 or 6 pitches, and then you have maybe 2 or 3 locations for them. You got inside, outside, and maybe an up-down sign also. So there's a lot of things going on between those two.
Well, one of the issues with Matsuzaka has been, does he have a real out pitch? Does he have a plus pitch that can just blow a big league hitter away? And he's walked another man. He puts Pena on. That's his second walk in the inning. As of right now, you'd have to say he really doesn't have that pitch. He's got 4 or 5 real good ones, but he doesn't throw 97. He doesn't have a devastating curveball.
Well, you have to have something that the big league hitter respects, and sometimes it's velocity, sometimes it's movement, sometimes it's a specific pitch, and other times it's your repertoire that you can throw any pitch at any time and any count. And I think that's Dice K's main asset. Number of pitches, you could get any pitch in any count. Now that doesn't mean he can throw it for a strike, but he'll still throw it to you.
2 starts since coming off the disabled list. That high earned run average. He did give up 7 runs in 1 official inning. His first start back from the disabled list at Fenway Park. The walks have been an issue. Here's Longoria. He takes the first one in there for a strike. That's 46 walks and 70 2/3 for Matsuzaka. Longoria probably the favorite right now to win the American League Rookie of the Year. He leads all major league rookies in home runs. He's hit 15, 47 runs batted in, and he has been sensational defensively, as he certainly was last night. 1 ball, 1 strike. You can get a look at where he ranks among the rookies. Certainly Jacoby Ellsbury is going to be in the photo as well. But number 1 in homers, 2nd in RBIs, doubles, and walks. And didn't even come up until the 2nd week of the season from the minor leagues. And they promptly signed him to a multi-year contract. They just love the kid. They count 2-1.
Well, the most impressive thing when I watch him play is the game is already slow for him. He has slowed it down in his mind. When you watch him play defense, when you watch him step into the box, nothing overwhelms him. He looks like he's been here forever.
Upton and Pena on. That one smacked into right field. It'll drop down for a base hit. Upton rounding third. He's going to score. Pena races into third, and this game is tied, and Longoria picks up his 48th run batted in. Nice job going to the opposite field against Matsuzaka. And it's a 1-1 game here in the Trop.
Well, the thing that I want you to look for most is when he finally hits the ball in this sequence, it is going to be a calm, compact swing going to the opposite field. Look at that relaxation in the box, taking that fastball, taking a fastball away, breaking ball. There is nothing there that is slow, fast, and then he just goes ahead and just stays with it. Oh, it's a breaking ball. Slap it into right field. He looked like he's in his 6,000th at bat not under 600 at bats in the big leagues.
Ben says, I like his confidence. In fact, it's cockiness, but it's the right kind of cockiness.
It's grounded.
He knows he can play. Here's Cliff Floyd, who takes high for ball one. The veteran scuffling right now with men in scoring position. He is 0 for his last 19 with runners at second or third. Hitting .248, 6 home runs overall. He's been in the big leagues 14 years. Very friendly, easygoing personality. Cliff has played in a World Series. He's played in New York and Boston and Chicago. So he has been around and really gives the Rays a solid veteran presence. Good block there by Veritek. The runners hold on the corners.
Well, Jason Bartlett can kind of anchor the infield as far as a veteran presence at shortstop. Cliff anchored the outfield or as a DH, and then Troy Percival was brought in to anchor the bullpen with Dan Wheeler. I really like the fact that, you know what, Boston comes up, Pedroia gets a home run, Rays look like they get knocked on their heels. Okay, they're not going to sweep them. Here's the beginning of the end. The second half, you know, here comes Boston. And Tampa Bay comes right back, not with just a run and a rally continuing.
Now, Crawford said that the other day after game one. He said in the old days, which was really last year and the previous decade, they'd get down 2-0 in the third inning and they'd think, well, that was the ball game. And even if they were leading 3 or 4-2 in the seventh inning, they knew the roof would cave in eventually. That is no longer the case. They believe they're going to win those games every night.
Well, the parts are now more a part of the whole instead of parts. You know, at times they had a few starting pitchers, a few relievers, a few guys that could play defense, a few guys that would have some situational hitting. Now the parts equal a whole. They are consistent throughout the organization in every facet of the game.
The 3-0 to Cliff Floyd, and it is ball 4, and the bases are loaded up. The third walk in the first inning by Daisuke Matsuzaka. Well, he's missed with 15 pitches. He's only thrown 7 strikes. And here comes John Farrell, the Red Sox pitching coach, as Matsuzaka is about to face the 7th hitter in the first inning.
Well, this is not something new for Daisuke and John Farrell to talk about with Jason Veritek out there. Prior to his shoulder tenderness when he went on the DL, before it, when he first got here to the United States, he has always been a guy who has a large pitch count and really pitches like he's afraid of contact. But as much as of a warrior he is over his whole career, Japan, World Baseball Classic, and here in the United States, you can't question his character and his heart. You just have to question his ability to concentrate and really want to throw the ball to the strike zone.
The amazing thing about this is he got the first hitter on 1 pitch, and the rest of it has been a mighty struggle, walking 3 and giving up the RBI single to Longoria. Well, here's Deanna Navarro, who may in the end wind up in the All-Star game for Tampa Bay. He's hitting .316 with 4 home runs, and they have raved about the way he has handled this young pitching staff and the veteran bullpen for the most part. Done a great job for them.
It's almost like a switch was flipped inside his head. He became more mature. He got smarter. He wanted to learn the league. He wanted to take pride in his defense. He wanted to develop a relationship not with just one pitcher but the whole staff. And now the bat's alive.
No place to put him. 2 out. He swings and hits that one toward the alley. On the move, Drew, and he'll make the catch for out number 3. They leave him loaded. Once again, the walk comes back to cost Matsuzaka as they get on the board to tie it 1-1 after 1. Sunday Night Baseball presented by Taco Bell on ESPN at 8 Eastern. Another chapter in the Sox-Yankees rivalry as the Red Sox march into Yankee Stadium. ESPN's Game of the Week. Coverage begins with baseball tonight. The matchup, Tim Wakefield against Jabba Chamberlain, coming off a very strong outing. Wakefield has had 6 or 7 outstanding performances. The knuckleballer against the flamethrower on Sunday Night Baseball. Back at Tropicana Field, where another big house has gathered to see the Red Sox and the Rays. In a game that is tied up 1-1, here's Mike Lowell at .299, a dozen homers, 47 runs batted in. He saw his 8-game hitting streak come to an end here last night, but he's still 17 for his last 36. So that's .472 over 9 games. Swinging a very good bat.
It's a hot shillelagh. You know what a shillelagh is?
One of my favorite words.
Shillelagh?
Shillelagh.
Wow.
A name like O'Brien.
I figured you'd know.
Grew up with them all over the house.
Sorry.
Used to chase each other, me and my 3 brothers. Chase each other all over the place. Mom loved it.
Really?
Broken lamps everywhere, but we were fit. And that one is down and in for a ball, and Mike Lowell will take the walk here. The first one issued by Scott Kazmir. The Red Sox have dropped 4 in a row, all by 1 or 2 runs. And as we mentioned, really starting to miss David Ortiz in a big way. It doesn't look like Ortiz will be ready to return from his wrist injury until after the All-Star break. The club refuses to set a timetable. He continues to swing a bat, though not against live pitching. He is, as you see, traveling with the ball club. Here's Kevin Youkilis hitting .308 with 13 homers and 50 runs batted in. And Aaron Andrews, Big Papi, wearing a big smile, although not completely healthy yet.
Very important to see Big Papi on the bench for the Red Sox. Talked to the big guy today. Actually, today was his 4th straight day he went to the cage. Still working on some things. He was wearing a kind of big Velcro wrap around his wrist. He says it's still very, very weak, but it's okay, he said. It's going to be a process, and that's taken him a while to realize that. As you know, he said he's not going to participate in the All-Star game, something his manager, Terry Francona, said he could see coming, but obviously they're very glad he's not going to push it in New York next week.
All right, Aaron, thank you very much. And you saw those numbers, and not much of a change in a couple of those, particularly runs per game. It's the same as it was without Ortiz, but misleading because J.D. Drew, who was so hot and filled in that void beautifully, batting in that number 3 spot. Ortiz normally bats in for the Red Sox. He has gotten cold here in the last 4 or 5 ball games.
Well, you try and pick it up, and everybody feels like they take it up a notch when you lose a key player like that. Kevin Youkilis has definitely done that. Mike Lowell, who's on first base, did that. But sooner or later, everybody's going to all of a sudden need somebody else to get hot, and it's usually then going to be Big Papi, and that's when you feel it.
Youkilis slices that one foul. He's never had a whole lot of luck against Kazmir. 6 out of 28, and he has struck out 13 times against this left-hander who has really had the Red Sox number. Against Boston, he's already posted 10 strikeout games on 3 occasions. Lowell on ball 4. And the 2-2 pitch to Youkilis. Ground ball. Great stab by Pena. Into second one. Back to first. Not in time. Carlos Pena, certainly a Gold Glove candidate over there at first base. He can flat go and get it. As we go to John Saunders in the studio for a Sports Center right now.
Well, guys, earlier today, Chris Mortensen of ESPN reported that Brett Favre had the itch to come back and play for another season, perhaps. Favre says it is all just rumor. Of course, everything is rumor until it happens, but Favre says nothing to make anything about.
And of course, that doesn't mean he didn't have the itch. He may well have had the itch. You got an itch, you got an itch. Got an itch, you got to scratch it. Here's Jason Varitek with a batting average that has dwindled down to .220. He is fighting a mighty slump right now, although right-handed his better side of the plate. But Orel 12 out of his last 98 over 29 games.
The bat for me has really slowed down. I'm surprised he hasn't made an adjustment in his stance or his position of his hands to get the bat to the hitting area quicker. He's got so much that goes on in his swing with the waggle and the foot tap and so much. I just think that sooner or later, this being his free agent year, he's getting older and up there in age, it's time to make an adjustment.
36 years old, a free agent after the season ends. This is over 13 games now, 3 for 32. So it has gotten progressively worse. Has a runner at first base with 1 out. They count 2 balls and 1 strike. Varitek, a switch hitter, and has always admitted to tinkering a lot with his swing.
But tinkering doesn't mean that you always have to add something. I think a little subtraction here would be a good thing. Simplify the movements, get the bat shorter and quicker.
He would rather be hitting from this side of the plate tonight. if not necessarily against Kazmir.
When you think about the wear and tear of being behind the plate and how great a hitter he's been as a catcher, but then as you get up past 35 years old, maybe the wear and tear of catching every day has not get into his catching and his blocking ability and his concentration behind the plate, but it's got into slowing his bat down.
Yeah, there are no indications yet that it's affecting what he does behind the plate. But it's bothering him in that batter's box, and down he goes. Strike 3. Second K tonight for Kazmir. He gets Veritek, and there are 2 away.
You know, at times the Boston Red Sox look like the young team during this series, swinging and missing at a lot of balls out of the strike zone that you would expect the Rays to feel anxiety, like we've got to catch the world champs. We're now out in front. Oh my God, how do we play as a front runner? And they would swing, but they're the one taking the walks. They're the one hitting the hanging breaking balls. They're the one not chasing the fastballs.
Is Brandon Moss, the young left fielder at 262, a couple of homers and 8 runs batted in, getting the start out there tonight in left field with Manny Ramirez, the designated hitter, here in the finale of the series. Red Sox on their way to New York to take on the Yankees. So they move from this relatively new rivalry to an ancient one. On to the Bronx in a 4-game series which begins tomorrow night. A little trickler foul, but isn't it something? Joe Madden was talking about this before the game with Terry Francona as they were down on the field. They were talking about all-star matters too, but kind of musing about the fact that the big story is not the upcoming Red Sox-Yankees series, not nearly as much as it is this one.
Yeah,
in baseball.
And what the Rays are doing and how much, you know, people are being interviewed. Are the Rays really for real? Can they maintain this?
Big swing and a miss. Now 1 ball and 2 strikes. It was such a huge crush of media here for the first game of the series on Monday. But I'd say more of it was about what Tampa Bay has done and their emerging personalities and their success on the field. The best record in Major League Baseball tonight.
Worst to first.
The 1-2. Fought off foul by Moss. Julio Lugo on deck.
You know, one of the things was how well Joe Madden predicted that this team was not a year away, but this could be the year. And he really motivated this organization, not only the players, but management, to say, let's move the timing up a year. We're not still rebuilding. I think these guys are ready.
Sock in and out of the glove of Pena. Almost made another great play. Here's Iwamura, too late, and he threw it right by everybody toward the dugout, heading into third base, and stopping right there is Youkilis, and all the way down to second is Moss. Iwamura throwing that one away. He had only made 1 error coming into tonight, but that misfire cost him, and the Red Sox have runners at second and third with 2 down. Boy, Pena almost had that one in his glove as he made a sprawling effort on it, but it spit right out of his first baseman's mitt. That's a hit and an error on the second baseman.
Well, he comes off with the pitch, the line drive, a great stab at it. It just deflects off his glove. And Iwamura probably had trouble picking up which is my target. Is it going to be Kazmir? Is it going to be Pena? And so when he goes to make this throw, he sees 2 white jerseys, neither one really able to get to the ball.
So on the broken play, Pena's wonderful effort goes for naught. Iwamura charged with his second error, and the Red Sox were a base hit away from taking a 3-1 lead here off Kazmir. Julio Lugo hitting .269 with 1 home run. Lugo used to play for Tampa Bay as their starting shortstop between 2003 and 06. He made the final out of game 1 against Troy Percival with the tying run on as he ripped the line drive to short to finish off the ball game. He takes a strike.
Some people around baseball have thought maybe the erratic play at shortstop by Lugo might be the fact that he's moved from an artificial surface to a natural surface. Really affected his confidence in his fielding and his throwing, because I think he has 17 errors now at shortstop.
He's made a ton of errors, and most of them on throws. The 1-1 pitch fouled away, and Kazmir jumps out in front. Scott Kazmir, this was another quiet note because the Rays lost so many games, but he led the American League in strikeouts last year with 239 at the age of 23. He became the youngest American League strikeout champion since Frank Tanana in 1975. He was 22 at the time. He is absolutely a strikeout pitcher. And the crowd here at the Trop wants one right now. Fought off again by Lugo.
You know, just to follow up, because you said Lugo, most of his errors are on throwing. But the difference between a natural surface and an artificial surface as far as your throwing is concerned is the rhythm of how you catch the ball. On an artificial surface, more rhythm, more confidence, you're getting the hop you get, and so you have a nice rhythm into your throw compared to reading the hop, oh, what do I have here, and then you're not in balance and have that rhythm on your throw.
I think he's talked about that as well. This is the 24th pitch here of the inning for Kazmir, and again a foul. Out of play by Lugo, so he's really making him work for this out. Lugo only 18 runs batted in. He drove in 73 last year, so that fall off at the bottom of the order has cost the Red Sox to some degree. A walk, a base hit, an error. The Red Sox have runners at second and third in a 1-1 tie in the top of the second. Up and in, 2-2.
Really interesting to see the intensity in Kazmir's eyes and Lugo's eyes. We're mid-season, and it's the Rays against the Red Sox. And it feels almost playoff-ish. You know, you're here in the Trop, and it's a sellout. This is just, it's almost surreal.
Totally different than the feeling in this building this time of the year at any other point. Little lunging swing. Here comes Longoria on the charge. Hard throw. Got him. Well, he's got a very, very strong arm. And the side is retired. The Red Sox will strand two. Kazmir doing good work pitching around the error. Coming up tonight on our broadcast, Orel dissects the art of the pickoff move. How lefties control the running game. Aaron will reveal the Rays' latest source of inspiration. And we'll also discuss surprises from the first half of the 2008 season, all coming your way tonight on Wednesday Night Baseball. Orel Hershiser, Dave O'Brien, Aaron Andrews with you from Tropicana Field in St. Petersburg, Florida, which has become a completely different place than the 10 previous years. Red Sox and the Rays in what has become a pretty bitter rivalry in a 1-1 tie. Eric Hinske played for the Red Sox last year as a backup outfielder. Hitting .265, 13 homers, 44 runs batted in. He's given them some grit and some power out of a corner outfield spot. They'll be followed by Bartlett and then Iwamura. All even at one. Matsuzaka looking for better command of his stuff than he had in the first inning when he walked 3.
Well, he's got to zone in, but I'm sitting up here almost hoping, not really expecting. He has really not shown us those days where he just is zoned in and can command pitch after pitch after pitch. He'll show you spurts, but not a long haul.
The 2-0 pitch hammered toward first, but foul just off that line and by the Gold Glover Youkilis. Really has been a stunning reversal of fortune for the Rays. Best record in baseball tonight at 51-32, a 2.5 game lead over Boston, 7.5 over the Yankees. Come July, in any of their previous 10 seasons, Tampa Bay would typically be 18 games back, and there would be nobody in the stands at Tropicana Field. They've made some more history, too. They had the best record ever through 81 games for a team that had finished the previous season with the worst record in the majors. Down low on Hinske. Another deep count, 3-1.
There's a story about Hinske and Carlos Pena when Hinske was playing for Boston last year. Got to first base and said to Carlos, "I'm going to be you next year." Well, Hinske getting pretty close. 44 RBIs, second on the club with only 215 at bats.
In for a strike, although Hinske didn't think so. 3-2. Of course, the Trop used to be known for hosting big college basketball tournaments more than important baseball games. Kind of play where the place where Dickie V would come to work and not just be a spectator, but he is a huge fan of the Rays. He's been a season ticket holder for a long, long time. Dick is estimating that it's been somewhere around what did he say, $250,000 in season tickets he's invested here.
I'm a little worried about him too. He's in the front row. There's no screen. It's a left-handed hitter, and he's not watching the game.
No,
he's just talking. I mean, that's a valuable franchise here for ESPN. Get a glove, Dick.
I think that's Lorraine's job. His lovely wife Lorraine is going to protect Dick from anything coming his way there, but he's not actually going to watch the game. He'll talk all the way through it. He was down on the field before the game. Evan Longoria is the guy he really wanted to meet. Has become a rising star here for the Rays and signed a bat for Mr. Vitale.
Well, it's absolutely amazing for a young man that probably idolized Dick Vitale, and then all of a sudden you become a big leaguer, you're up here, and then he wants to meet me.
Yes. A guy like Dick Vitale, who is such a big star in his own right, and we're also delighted that Dick is here tonight.
Why get a ticket if you're going to hang on the phone? Come on, Dick. Really. That is not a primetime player.
He's probably going to do about 4 talk shows while he's here tonight. That one up high for ball 4, and Hinske collects the 4th walk issued by Matsuzaka already. Aaron, Andrews, certainly a new vibe inside Tropicana Field, isn't there?
Yeah, I may not be like Dick Vitale and have $1 million to invest in season tickets, but I did in fact grow up here in Tampa, and I got to tell you, we used to come to the games 5 minutes beforehand, be able to park right at the Trop and get right inside. Last night we came as a family, drove around for 45 minutes, couldn't find a parking space anywhere. But talking to Rays players, they're so excited about how the fans have reacted over the past couple weeks. You know, they said looking up in the stands, people are actually wearing Rays gear. When the Rays are doing well against the Red Sox, you hear people cheering for the Rays.
Bartlett pops that one up. Here comes Ellsbury. Closing, slides in, makes a fine catch. Back to first goes Hinske, Aaron.
Obi, we mentioned the sellout today. The 4th time this season, people were lined up ready to come inside to the Trop at about 5 o'clock tonight. Tim Wakefield mentioned he was pretty excited about how loud it got inside here last night. Julio Lugo, who played for the Rays, also said, you know, he's glad this has happened for the city. It's good for baseball.
It's all well and good, Aaron, but don't they know what a big star you are? Driving around for 45 minutes, there's something wrong with that.
We were in my dad's car, and I forgot my press credential. No, I won't blame it on my father. We had great seats. We had a blast.
Yep, your dad is a local news reporter here in Tampa. He's become a staple in the market for a long, long time, an investigative reporter. Here's Iwamura, 0 for 1. He is grounded out to second.
And if you don't think fans and energy affect players, the Rays are 11-1 here at home when they have 30,000 people or more. You come out, you support your team, you create an atmosphere. It's amazing what you turn on as far as your players and the energy and concentration.
Iwamura started the night hitting .276 with 5 homers, 23 runs batted in. 29-year-old from Tokyo. Now, he was a 6-time Gold Glover for Yakult in Japan, but he was a career third baseman. At the top of the season, they told him, "You're moving over to play second base." And he has been just about flawless, although he has committed his 2nd error of the season tonight.
If at the end of the year he has 4, since we're halfway through, that's a seamless transition from third to second. And to look what he did for the club. Jason Bartlett's playing short. They've been unbelievable as a tandem up there. But Evan Longoria then slips in as a rookie at third base. He's going to be there for a long time.
Runner at first base. That is up high for a ball. 2-1 the count. Now, earlier this season, we came in to do a game, one of their games against the Cubs here at Tropicana. We asked to see Iwamura's alligator skin glove. Now, he has 2 of them. He has one he uses in batting practice, the other he uses during the games. He would not let us see the one he uses during the games. He's very superstitious about it. He said, "Yeah, you can shoot the one I use for a backup, but not the number 1. That's off limits," as he fouls it away 2-2. Now, he thinks it's the only alligator skin glove used in the majors.
So the alligators were twins at birth and one was camera shy.
Yeah, might be true. He's got Top Gun stitched into the game glove, so that's the real deal. I mean, I've heard of alligator skin boots.
Yeah. Maybe it's against the law to have an alligator skin glove, and so he doesn't want anybody to see it.
Let alone two. But really superstitious about it. He was like, no, I don't want you shooting it. I'm not going to put it on until the game starts. And
maybe something was lost in translation.
flying into left center field. Ellsbury will fill the alley and make the catch. You saw Brandon Moss coming in behind him. They're not used to playing too often together out there. Let's go to John Saunders for a Sports Center in-game update.
Well, in Sitco, keeping you in the game, Josh Hamilton continues to be the story of the season. Notching 2 more runs here. Now has 82 runs batted in. We're not at the All-Star break yet. Texas leading the Yankees 3-1.
82 RBIs for Hamilton. You talk about a great story. A young guy who had so many problems, which started right here at Tampa Bay when they drafted him. They never got anything out of him because of all of his drug issues and problems with alcohol and everything else. But what a story.
It's the natural. You know, he almost had to go away and get his life straightened out. Not just baseball. The drugs and the alcohol and the lifestyle issues. He actually has a guy there in Texas that hangs with him, Jerry Naren's brother, that really keeps him on track. When he first came up to Cincinnati and did so well, everybody thought, okay, flash in the pan, everybody can get lucky. Once around the league, they'll figure him out.
Crawford taking a pitch outside. He drew a walk in the first inning.
They haven't figured him out. I don't care what he hits. And I have a good friend down there, the hitting coach for the Rangers. And I'm telling you what, he talks about him getting better. Rudy Jaramillo, he talks about him getting better.
That's a little frightening because he does everything so well. He's got a cannon of an arm. He runs. He's a huge guy, too. He's 6'4", about 240.
Yeah. Hits for power, hits for average. And Rudy says he's going to get better. And Rudy knows hitters. You think about who's gone through there. Juan Gonzalez, Pudge Rodriguez, Rafael Palmeiro, Alex Rodriguez. Michael Young, who's there now, the hit king. Ian Kinsler, what he's done for him.
Hinske at first base, 2 out. We're tied 1-1 in the second inning. Sliced foul by Crawford. You talk about guys who are great athletes like Hamilton. How about Carl Crawford coming out of Houston? He could have played anything he wanted. UCLA offered him a basketball scholarship to play point guard. Nebraska offered him a football scholarship to be an option quarterback, but what he wanted most to do is be a major league outfielder. Never thought when he was drafted it would take 10 years to play for a winning team, but here he is. And right in the middle of it for the Rays with the best record in the game as he knocks that one foul.
And if you look at the success of the Rays, you think of what Carl Crawford can do. He's not riding high like a season for a lifetime. You know, Longoria is a rookie. There is nobody on this team that's really having a career year. So when people say, can they keep it up? It's not like all of a sudden they've got 5 guys having career years and they're all going to collapse and have a terrible second half. These guys are on the rise still. Cliff Floyd only just over 100 RBI or 100 at bats. Carlos Pena out with the broken finger, still coming back.
Ground ball. It's going to get through for a base hit into right. Hinske rounding second. Here's Drew with a strong throw. Not in time. Crawford with a single. He's reached base twice tonight. Hinske motors down to third base. And Tampa Bay with a threat here with 2 men out. Inside Tropicana Field, maybe the toughest place to win at this moment in Major League Baseball. The Red Sox and the Rays concluding their 3-game series. The Rays are going for the sweep. Dave O'Brien, Orel Hershiser, Aaron Andrews with you. Inside this building, they have been outstanding. This has become a first-rate rivalry as well, and Tampa Bay has a 2.5-game lead over Boston here in early July. And the Yankees 7.5 out. They continue to have trouble scoring runs. New York has scored, what, 5 runs in the last 4 games. Here's B.J. Upton. Foul tips that one into the mid for strike 1. He reached on a fielder's choice in the first inning, stole a base, and scored a run on the RBI single from Longoria.
Joe Madden can decide if he wants to run Carl Crawford at first base, leave the hole open with 2 outs for B.J. Upton. For me, I want to keep sending the message that we're coming after you and we're here for real. I'm going to keep pushing the envelope.
And have stolen one base tonight. He holds here, and it's down low, but they are the best base stealing team in the majors. Crawford 4 times has led the American League in stolen bases. Although he has been caught a lot this year. He's been caught 10 times. That's more than anybody. And we'll see if they put a play on here. 1 ball, 1 strike, 2 out. Crawford takes off, and it's outside, and there will be no throw from Varitek. A stolen base for Carl Crawford, and they are putting that pressure on.
Well, I like the play. Some people would say leave the hole and make the defense have a little deficiency as far as having Youkilis cover the man at first. But I just like the fact that the Rays are on top. They're in first place. They're playing well, and you just want to keep applying the pressure.
92. Houston with 79, and you get the Mets, the Dodgers, and rather surprisingly, the Red Sox with 75. They've added speed to their game, but nobody runs like Tampa Bay. Upton 1 out of 12 in his career against Matsuzaka. So does not appear to see him very well, although if he does on this occasion and drives one, it's going to bring in 2 runs for Tampa Bay. The right-hander from Japan ready with a 2-1 pitch. Missed the inside corner. 3-1. So a second straight 24-pitch inning for Daisuke Matsuzaka.
His last game against Houston, he threw 87 pitches in 5 innings, which was really a low pitch count for Daisuke for 5 innings.
3-1, wrapped toward the second baseman Pedroia to haul it in. 2 men left. Matsuzaka has survived. 5 men have been stranded. J.D. Drew coming on up, number 3, as part of the Orel Report. A closer look at Scott Kazmir. Back inside Tropicana Field, Dave O'Brien alongside Orel Hershiser, former Cy Young Award winner, and Aaron Andrews, who I don't believe has ever won one, but is a very proud former resident of Tampa, Florida. It is a 1-1 tie here in the 3rd inning. Jacoby Ellsbury to lead things off against Kazmir with a .282 career earned run average against the Red Sox. Only 6-6 against Boston, but with a whole lot of strikeouts, and now has a team to back him up. Little looper by Ellsbury. Here's Bartlett into left and makes the catch. 1 pitch and 1 out. Time for the Orel Report, and we're talking about the pickoff move to keep the Red Sox running game at bay tonight.
With somebody like Scott Kazmir on the mound, a lefty who has a pretty solid move. We think about what it takes as a lefty to, you look at keeping things the same, your head, your hand movements, your leg kick. If you can look the same as when you go home as you go to first, you have a very good chance of getting people out.
Pedroia homered his first time up. He looks at a strike. That was his 9th home run of the season. Second batter into the ball game off Kazmir. So he is 11 out of 19 in his career against this pitcher. J.D. Drew on deck. That one hit toward the alley on the move. That's going to be all the way on 1 bounce up against the wall, and then takes a sideways skip. Here's Pedroia rounding second, heading to third, and he's going to reach, diving in with a triple. Scott Kazmir is going to think about walking him the next time. He just owns the left-hander. A home run and a triple. It took a fortuitous skip into that angle.
Well, he has halfway there to hitting for the cycle, and the 2 harder pieces of it, a home run now and a triple, and that high fastball is almost the same exact place as when he hit his home run. This one he hits to the gap off the angled part of the wall. And that little kick right there has got him a good shot of hitting for the cycle tonight, which would be a rarity for Dustin Pedroia.
Drew trying to pick him up here with the infield in for Tampa Bay.
If Pedroia was on first, we could show you more on how to pick people off over there, but now he goes and hits the triple.
Only hitting 600 off Kazmir. And tonight, as you mentioned, a home run and a 3-base hit. Drew 0 for 1. He has flied out to center field. He has probably been the most reliable Red Sox hitter all season long in getting a man in from third base with less than 2 out. He has cooled off, but as mentioned today, named American League Player of the Month for June. Drove in 27 runs in 26 games in the month of June, hitting 12 homers. He led the majors in homers, slugging percentage, tied for first in runs and total bases, and tied for first in extra base hits. He had himself quite a month. Inside, now 3-1.
Yeah, Scott Kazmir is a big-time strikeout pitcher. J.D. Drew has worked into a 3-1 count. Really, Kazmir looking for that strikeout. 9.65 strikeouts per 9 innings since 2005. That's #1 in the big leagues. If you get him with men on third and less than 2 out, those are key.
Bounce to the plate. Navarro keeps it out in front. And that is ball 4, and Drew is on. So we may get a chance to see that pickoff move of Scott Kazmir. And Brian Anderson helped you out before the game as far as those lefties in the pickoff.
Well, now with J.D. Drew over there at first base, Scott Kazmir needing to hold him close. You want to look exactly the same. Normal delivery. And you see as they freeze, he's coming to first on the right. Watch, it's exactly the same until right there the leg kick starts to come. Brian Anderson had one of the best pickoff moves ever. Outstanding athlete, worked very, very hard at it. He has worked as an assistant pitching coach with Scott Kazmir and the other lefties with the Rays.
We're going to look at some others too who have terrific pickoff moves, left-handers in Major League Baseball. Right now, Manny Ramirez with runners at first and third and 1 out. A 1-1 tie in the 3rd inning. Ramirez struck out first time up, and he fouls one off for strike 1. Ramirez with 506 career homers. He's number 23 on the all-time list. He has had a very poor road trip, which began in Houston with Manny shoving the club's senior citizen traveling secretary to the ground over an argument about Manny's ticket allotment for a game at Minute Maid Park. The 0-1 pitch, and he lets it go high. 1 ball and 1 strike. Now the Red Sox have said he is being punished. There is a fine involved. There is no suspension.
No excuse, but they want to handle it internally. They say they both are on working terms and friends again. Manny apologized behind closed doors and publicly.
And Jack McCormick, the traveling secretary, accepted that apology. He said, "I wish it would all just go away." Fouled back to the screen, 1-2.
You just can't make excuses for anybody there. I can't stick up for Manny at all. It just should never happen.
What was so strange about it was just a couple of days after Sean Chacon had dumped general manager Ed Way to the Astros, had forced him to the ground, pushed him twice, and he was summarily released. The Players Union doesn't have a leg to stand on that one. Runners at first and third with 1 man out. Hit sharply to third, knocked down by Longoria, has a play at first base, gets the out there. In to score is Dustin Pedroia, and the Red Sox lead it 2-1. And Ramirez will get credit for the RBI ground out, and that'll be his 53rd run batted in. And they're 2 away for Boston.
Well, this ball jumps up and bites him, but the good thing, Mario talked about how slow the game was. There's no panic even after he knows he's not going to get the double play. Of course he wanted to get the double play and not boot the ball a little bit. It didn't look like he was rushing to me to transfer the ball to make sure he got the double play to save the run. He just got a tough hop. He blocked it, stayed with it, and got the out.
Now Drew moves up to second, and here's Mike Lowell taking ball 1. He took a walk in the 2nd inning. Lowell hitting around 380 the last 3 weeks. Now Mike has been very complimentary of the Rays in this series. He is on the record saying they should be in it all the way. He thinks they'll be in it all the way to the late days of September. Very, very impressed by their pitching.
And the more the opposing team speaks out, the more it gives you confidence. But you've got to be truthful. You've got to admire what they're doing and what they've built here, and what Joe Madden has kind of almost brainwashed the guys at times with all of his sayings and cliches.
Popped him up to right. Now the visiting Red Sox with a 2-1 lead. But keep in mind the home team has won the last 12 games in this series. 2-1 Boston. Red Sox 2 and the Rays 1. Alex Cora, the utility man for the Red Sox, brushing up on the Rays, working on that media guide. A Monday night presented by Holiday Inn. Monday Night Baseball on ESPN at 7. To the best in the American League, the Twins and the Red Sox. Coverage begins with baseball tonight at 10 o'clock Eastern Time from Fenway Park. Orel Hershiser will be on hand. Alex Cora will be on hand.
Dan Shulman and Steve Phillips.
The Monday triumvirate. As Carlos Pena takes one up high for ball 1.
Steve Phillips, fondly known as the Silver Fox.
That's perfect. Maybe the best hair in television.
He thinks so.
Pena to be followed by Longoria and then Floyd. Grounded foul, first base side by Pena, who is a Boston kid. His family moved to Haverhill, Massachusetts when he was just 12 years old from the Dominican Republic, just outside Boston. He grew up there and would star at Boston's Northeastern University. Actually played 18 games for the Red Sox in 2006. They were one of a number of teams that passed on him. He was released by 3 different ball clubs. Red Sox, the Yankees, the Tigers, they all let him go before he landed in Tampa Bay last year, and then started playing every day and had a spectacular season. Hit .282, 46 homers. He drove in 121 runs and would sign a 3-year, $24 million contract. The count moves to 2-2 on Pena.
It's not quite the Josh Hamilton story, but it's close. Just these young guys that are kind of finding their way, and all of a sudden they are just not just players in the big leagues, they are contributors and stars.
And Pena, who is one of the friendliest athletes in professional sports, a wonderful kid, great family, just seemed to click for him. That one missing inside, very close. Matsuzaka, who almost never flashes emotion, that was about as close as he will ever come. He wanted that pitch.
In some ways, you have to earn your strikes. You've got to be there for a while to get the 50-50 borderline call. You can't be all over the place like Dice K has been.
He's walked 4 in this game, among the walk leaders among American League pitchers. And yet he is 9-1.
Some would say an ugly 9-1.
Even though the ERA is only 3.21 into tonight. The breaking ball hammered foul off the first baseline. The Red Sox infielders and the outfielders are used to being out there for a long time when he's on the mound. Kobe Ellsbury in center, J.D. Drew in right. That's 55 pitches now for Matsuzaka.
Jokingly, they probably want to work the count when they come in on offense just so they don't have to go back out on defense.
Pena asking for time here. Three balls and 2 strikes. Matsuzaka says yes. Cut on and missed. He struck him out. 86 miles an hour as we go back to the studio for an update. And here's John Saunders. John.
Well, power performance of the night presented by Lotrimin Ultra. Jason Giambi had been 0 for 9 with the bases loaded this year. Not this time. His 13th career grand slam clears the bases and puts the Yankees on top 5-3.
Don't mess with the mustache. A big blast there by Giambi. One man out here for Longoria. The rookie singled in a run in the first inning. We are 2-1 Boston here in the home half of the 3rd inning at Tropicana Field. Longoria, big star at Long Beach State. He was a finalist for the Golden Spikes Award before signing on with Tampa Bay, and fast track to the big leagues. That's in there for a called strike. 1-1.
I'm seeing flashes of a young Alex Rodriguez. Just looking at the broad shoulders and the quick hands, the big strong hands. Not because he's at third base now, but just the way he goes about his game. Just such a live, strong body. He's a big boy too.
And he really is. And he's made a profound effect on their one-loss record. They are 46-27 since they called him up from AAA. He was at Durham. That was in the second week of the season. And they've done a whole lot of winning ever since they plugged him in at third. And could very well be an all-star in the making. Whether it's this season or not remains to be seen, but the organization in signing him to that multi-year contract really backed him up. Here's the 2-2 pitch. Ground ball right at the shortstop. And Lugo's throw is dug there by Youkilis to get the out. Close play at first base. 2 gone. So 2 fast outs in front of Cliff Floyd here, and the base is empty for Tampa Bay.
We talked about Julio Lugo in trouble throwing most of his errors. Well, look at how this, just because we're on natural, we're not on natural, we're on artificial turf, and he gets back there, that rhythm on that throw. Nice play by Kevin Youkilis, but he backpedaled, kind of expected a good hop. He's on artificial turf, got a decent hop, and just had enough to get it over there.
Youkilis might be the best in the American League in digging those throws out of the dirt. He's actually really saved his infield, particularly Lugo. More errors. That one popped up back toward the screen. Varitek will have no room. It's over the top and into the crowd. Cliff Floyd. Cliff Floyd, the father of 2 and expecting a 3rd. Actually, Marianne is in August. It's a busy time of the year and a very fruitful time of the year, obviously, for Cliff Floyd, in a situation where he's playing for a first-place ball club with the best record in Major League Baseball. He's settled in nicely as their designated hitter. And of course, when healthy, he can flat put up numbers. They count 1 ball, 1 strike.
He missed 30 games early in the year with right knee surgery. He was out April 7th to May 10th. Those 77 starts last year for the National League Cubs posted at .373 on base percentage. We're looking for that kind of production here in Tampa Bay.
Nobody on base. That's across for a called strike. Deanna Navarro would hit next.
Cubs were actually a below 500 club when Floyd was not in the lineup. They were 43-33 when he was in there last year.
And Cliff Floyd, a Chicago guy, big basketball star in high school. Almost went in that direction athletically. He's had 228 career home runs. But I always thought of Floyd as more of a pure line drive hitter than a home run hitter.
Yep.
He hit some of the deepest line drives, like 10 feet shy of the warning track. He's really cooking. It's mainly doubles more than homers.
Yeah, it's gap to gap, and it's very low line drives that actually have that kind of that rising pattern. You say, wow, if he could just get under it a little bit more, but he squares the ball up so well and hits it so hard. And he doesn't really even hit those ones with topspin. He hits the ones that are just dead straight, like a 1-iron.
And he's got that beautiful left-handed swing. He's locked in. He's a very dangerous hitter. Matsuzaka with that little wiggle of a windup and grounded back to him. Daisuke, a very good fielder, and makes the play for the 3rd out. Matsuzaka settling down, retires 3 tough hitters in order. It is 2-1 Boston at the end of 3. On a Wednesday night, that is downtown Tampa, Florida. 2-1 the Red Sox. They have out hit the Rays 3-2, including a home run by Dustin Pedroia. Now the Rays with the top record in Major League Baseball, and here inside Tropicana Field, they're 32-13 in St. Pete. Won more games than anyone at home except the Cubs. On to the 4th inning, and it's Kevin Youkilis 0 for 1 tonight, to be followed by Varitek and then Brandon Moss. The left-hander Scott Kazmir, 6 feet, 190 pounds, going after his 8th win of the season. With a victory, he'll be 8-3. And the Red Sox have probably been his personal favorite opponent since he broke into the big leagues. As he's swinging a high fly ball driven deep into left field. Crawford is back on the track, appears to have room. He does. He's got it for out number 1. That'll send up Jason Varitek. Aaron Andrews, Terry Francona is going to be the all-star manager right there at Yankee Stadium for the American League team later on in July.
Yeah, and while it's a very big process to make sure you've got the right players, that you've done your research, he said to be managing an AL team at Yankee Stadium for the very last time an All-Star game will be there in a Red Sox uniform, said will mean the world to him. But it's a lot of work, OB. He said he started doing his research about a month ago. He felt out of respect to players. He needed to make sure he was caught up on everything, wanted to make sure he wasn't overlooking anyone. You know, one of the things he had said is he knows that there are going to be a lot of naysayers out there that say, oh, look, it's Red Sox heavy, you know, the guys that didn't win the popularity vote on MLB.com. But he said, look, one thing he's going to do for his players is he's going to have an opinion and he's going to be vocal about it.
Of course, David Ortiz has already announced he will not participate in the All-Star game because of that wrist injury. How about Joe Madden? He said before the game he was going to huddle with Terry Francona, kind of push some of his guys like Deanna Navarro and some of his relief pitchers and guys he feels who are having big years.
That's a normal thing for managers when they run into the all-star manager that they know is coming to kind of come through and promote their candidates. And I know Joe Madden's very proud of this team. He really doesn't have anybody who has that 25 home runs, huge RBIs. He doesn't have anybody with 11, 12 victories or 30 saves, but he's got a ball club that's the best in baseball, and he wants to be represented.
Varitek takes one inside for a ball. He struck out in the second inning. Now, for a long time, it looked like Jason Varitek was going to be going to that All-Star game to be voted in by the fans. He has now slipped behind Joe Mauer of Minnesota in the fan voting as he takes a strike, and it moves to 3-2.
And you might see Terry Francona have to pick somebody like A.J. Pierzynski, who's having a good year with the White Sox. Might not be able to go to his own club as Varitek misses out on the voting.
3-2 pitch popped up. Is there room here for Navarro and for Pena? Pena racing to his dugout, and those two nearly collided. Navarro going down for it. Neither one of them could get it. 3 balls, 2 strikes. No play here.
Well, the ceiling here is not as bad as the one in Minnesota as far as losing balls, but Deanna Navarro does a nice job coming over there and sliding with his pants. I thought Carlos Pena made a little bit of a late break and maybe didn't run quite as hard as he could have. Navarro had the farther distance to run. But Pena is playing off the bag at first base, kind of shifted around for Varitek as a right-hander. But you see, Carlos really not going all out, getting to the rail and then finding the rail and then finding the ball. He was really kind of feeling for it the whole way.
Up and away for ball 4. Navarro has only made 1 error so far in 2008. He's really been a rock behind that plate for Kazmir, and Aaron Andrews, Joe Madden thinks that he is deserving of an all-star honor.
Yeah, we were asking a lot of the players in the Rays clubhouse, you know, who would they vote to go? Some said J.P. Howell, some said Scott Kazmir. As you mentioned, Joe Madden said Navarro. He said he's held this pitching staff together, ERA under 4. His defense has gotten better, and, you know, just overall improvement. He's had a great first half of the season.
Yep, batting well over 300, starting the night at 316. Moss stings that one into right field. Varitek will move up 90 feet. And the Red Sox are trying to piece something together here. A 2-1 lead for Boston. They have runners at first and second.
Yeah, that first error that Navarro made was last night on a swinging bunt by Jacoby Ellsbury, and he just kind of threw it into right field. But he'd been solid other than up until last night. No errors.
Clint Hurdle, by the way, as Lugo gets in. Clint Hurdle of the Colorado Rockies will be the manager for the National League team for the All-Star game on July 15th. At Yankee Stadium. Been a tough year for Colorado, coming off a World Series appearance. Lugo is 0 for 1. He's grounded out to third, and he fouls it back for strike 1.
And the Rockies are now in the cellar in the West. 10 games out, 32-51.
Ouch. The mighty have fallen. Look at the all-star vote leaders in the National League. Lance Berkman having a great year for the Astros. Chase Utley. Hanley Ramirez might be the most talented player on that list.
The power, the speed, everything that he brings to a shortstop position, absolutely amazing. Chipper Jones, you just hope he's healthy enough.
2 on, 1 out as Lugo takes the ball inside. 1 ball and 1 strike. And Kazmir has now walked 3 men. His opponent Matsuzaka has walked 4, so neither one of the starters razor sharp here. Red Sox have 4 hits so far off the left-hander. Lugo takes one off the corner. 2-1.
Maybe that's Dice K's secret why he has so many long innings, is he's freezing the other pitcher. It's making him sit over there, have a long inning, but I'll still get a 0, but I'm gonna make you feel like you should have got 5 runs. Come out, lose your release point, get a little stiff.
Varitek and Moss getting their leads, and that drops in for a called strike. Kazmir is mentioned out of Houston, Texas. Former high school phenom out of Cypress Falls High in Houston, where he tossed 4 no-hitters in a row his junior year of high school. He broke Josh Beckett's Texas high school strikeout record, which is saying a lot. The 2-2 pitch. Little looper toward left center. That's going to drop down for a base hit. Varitek into third. He'll put on the brakes there as third base coach DeMarlo Hale holds him, and the bases are loaded with 1 out as we go to John Saunders in the studio for a Sports Center right now.
Well, the deal that will send the Seattle Supersonics to Oklahoma City for the upcoming season appears to be done. Clay Bennett, the owner, has agreed to pay $75 million to move the team, $45 million immediately and $30 million later.
All right, John, thank you very much. The batter will be the rookie, Jacoby Ellsbury, a Red Sox on every base. Varitek at third, Moss at second, and Julio Lugo, who just looped a single, is at first. Ellsbury has gone 0 for 2. He's grounded to short, popped out to short. Francona looking for a little more offense here. His team on top 2-1. And Kazmir is suddenly all over the place. That is ball 1.
Yeah, with Kazmir on the mound and Ellsbury at the plate, you're not thinking double play. Ellsbury doesn't ground into many, and Kazmir's only got 1 ground in the double play this year.
This is Scott Kazmir's 77th pitch right here. A called strike, and the man on deck is already halfway to the cycle. Dustin Pedroia, a homer and a triple. And this is the man that Scott Kazmir sees in his nightmares in the wee hours of the morning. Pedroia just carves him up. 1-1 slicer foul, and the left-hander is in front on the left-hand hitter. 1-2.
Pedroia hits him at a 600 clip, so you definitely want to get Jacoby Ellsbury out. I think I have nightmares about Craig Biggio. He's the one who owned me.
The Hall of Famer, any argument there?
No, he's definitely a Hall of Famer. I got him in.
The 1-2 fought off by Ellsbury, who is almost impossible to double up. He has tremendous speed, and he's a left-hand hitter. 1 double play in 11 starts at 18 last year. Kazmir certainly goes for the strikeout.
He had 34 starts last year, which is a franchise record. 18 double plays, so he is definitely way off that pace.
Bases filled up, 1 away. Now 2 balls and 2 strikes on Ellsbury. Ellsbury reaching base 3 times last night. He had a couple of hits and a stolen base. He had been slumping coming into tonight. Just a 176 average over 13 games. Trying to break through here. The place is quieted considerably with Kazmir in trouble. 2-2 ground ball out to Iwamura. Flips to Bartlett 1 on to first, not in time, and the run is in. Varitek will score. Wait a minute. They're going to call this a double play, and Julio Lugo has been ruled out.
Well, they're saying that he slid into the fielder as interference.
So Lugo going outside the base path to go after the fielder on the double play turn. Interference, and they rule the double play to end the inning. And Lugo will stand and argue But this play ends the inning, and the run does not score. The Red Sox on top 2-1. Well, Julio Lugo, as part of a double play, ruled out because of interference there, and that was the additional third out. And we have to go back and take a look at this. Of course, there's been friction between these two ball clubs all season long. Look at the play as it develops at second base. That's Bartlett, the shortstop.
Well, Lugo's got to be able to touch the bag. He gets so far out there and continues his reach at Bartlett. Manny Ramirez, Alex Cora, and Sean Casey are like, what's going on?
Asking Alex Cora, who's of course not involved in the play. I think Alex Cora certainly agreed with it. That's what I gathered from that. Lugo did not. And of course, their last series in Boston was a very, very testy series. Even before the brawl, there was that play down at second base as Deanna Navarro gets in and fouls it back. 1 ball and 1 strike. Really, there were 2 plays in Boston where Coco Crisp went sliding in, and Bartlett, who was the third batter due up in this inning, playing shortstop at that time, dropped the knee in front of the bag, and Crisp went in head first and he jammed his thumb. And then after that, the next time Crisp got on, he went sliding in hard to second base. He got Iwamura, who had not been involved in the previous play, but that touched off a screaming match between Madden and Crisp. Go back to June 4th, 6th inning against the Rays. Crisp trying to steal second base. He was upset by this play. Bartlett blocking the bag. Wound up hurting his thumb on it. Then in the 8th inning, Crisp and Iwamura, they got tangled up there, and Crisp went in hard on purpose. That one fouled away by Navarro. And then, of course, the very next day was when James Shields, the starter for Tampa Bay up at Fenway, he drilled Coco Crisp, and that touched off at the benches clearing and bullpen clearing brawl and all those suspensions.
Well, the work around the bag at second base, you're always playing the music, but sometimes you turn up the volume and then people start to get sensitive. And right now the umpires are sensitive, the league's sensitive, and I think that's why that call got made, because it's surely not as tough as the 2 we just showed.
In there for strike 3 on Navarro. On June 5th, Coco Crisp hit on the right hip by a pitch from James Shields. He dropped his bat, charged the mound. And Coco has done some boxing in his career, as you can tell by the fact that he ducked the first one. He was then tackled to the ground by Navarro. Johnny Gomes charged the mound from the dugout. He jumped on Navarro and pinned Crisp. But Crisp, Shields, and Gomes all ejected from the game. Others were suspended as well. Coco Crisp is finishing up his suspension tonight, in fact, as Hinsky, who drew a walk his first time up, takes a strike, 0-1.
And before this series, both managers were called in and met with Jerry Davis, the crew chief, and warned from them and the league to keep things calm. Both managers said it's dead, it's gone. We just want to play baseball.
Well, there have been more hit batsmen in games between these 2 clubs since Tampa Bay came into the league than any 2 teams in baseball. So it's been testy for a while. It was even before the June 5th brawl there in Boston. Bartlett on deck. The count moves to 1 ball and 2 strikes. Now, I'm sure as a pitcher you didn't mind if an infielder blocked a guy trying to steal a base if he dropped the knee like that.
You want to play as hard as possible behind you, and you want your runners to try and steal runs, especially in a bases loaded situation. You want to break up 2 right there to get that run. You didn't ask anybody to do anything dirty or out of the ordinary, but you wanted them playing hard.
Well, then Tampa Bay elected to retaliate the following day, and Shields, who had fallen behind 3-0, he obviously threw at Coco Crisp. Hinsky did not offer, and the count moves to 2-2. But what he did was, he drilled him low. Everybody said at the time, well, that was the right thing to do if he was going to do it, hitting him in the right spot.
Well, if you do have to come inside, and if there is some payback or some message from your management or players as a team, and you've got to protect your teammates, the best place is to do it below the waist for sure. And you've got to protect your team, and you've got to stand up, because it's a man's game at this level. It's not amateur baseball, and there are messages to be sent at times. And in the old school, in the olden days, I was schooled by Sandy Koufax and Don Drysdale and Tommy Lasorda and Ron Peronowski. It was a different culture, and the culture has changed because of the salaries and the protection of people and players on the field. But there is still messages to be sent.
Would a manager have to tell the starting pitcher to do that, or does he know to do it on his own?
You usually know to do it on your own, and it doesn't usually come from a manager. If anybody, it comes from maybe one of the elder statesmen on your team.
Or you can just sliding effort, but that's foul.
You can tell from just the undercurrent on the bench that something needs to be done. But that art has really slowly gotten lost about how to knock somebody down or send a message without being flagrant, and to keep the ball, below the waist or down by, the belly button area.
2 men out, bases empty here as Matsuzaka tries to make it a 1-2-3 inning. He got one of those in the 3rd inning. For more on this, let's go to Aaron Andrews. EA?
Well, Dave, when Joe Madden and the Rays left Boston, they said the entire thing was a dead issue. Well, dead until June 11th, when Jonathan Papelbon said this thing isn't done at all, it isn't settled. And in so many words, he said what the Rays did was a bunch of you-know-what, and payback is a pain in the butt. Now, a lot of the Rays players said they were shocked to see this. Reliever Trevor Miller went on to say it's all on Papelbon now. The ball's in his court.
Well, he has not gotten into the series yet. Maybe tonight. Matsuzaka with his best inning. He strikes out the side through 4. 2-1 Red Sox. Pedroia, Drew, and Ramirez coming up. Top of the 5th inning. 2 runs on 5 hits for the Red Sox. 1 run on 2 hits for Tampa Bay. And Dustin Pedroia, who has homered and tripled tonight, will lead things off against Scott Kazmir. Then it's Drew and Ramirez for the Red Sox. First pitch in there for a strike. So Pedroia has gotten 2 real hard ones out of the way as far as hitting for the cycle this evening.
Tremendous eye-hand coordination. Every time I see him play, I'm amazed at how often he gets the bat on the ball.
He certainly takes a big swing for a guy who is well under 6 feet, but look at the numbers. 307, 9 homers. He's hit in 10 consecutive games. He has 107 hits. That's second most in the American League.
Well, the biggest adjustment I've seen, he takes that big swing, but he doesn't collapse the back side anymore. He stays tall on his back leg, which gives him a chance to have a level swing or almost swing down more and hit the ball hard. We've seen on the 2 high fastballs that he's driven off Kazmir. He's been able to do that and not pop those balls up.
Fires that one down the left field line, but he hooked it foul. Boy, he gets great swings off Kazmir.
Seeing the ball really well, and sometimes that's just from a confidence of getting so many hits, and sometimes you really do pick the guy up more than the other guys.
The Red Sox haven't had anybody hit for the cycle since John Valentin in 1996 against the White Sox. 2-2 hit the other way down the line. That's a fair ball. Down into the corner. Pedroia heading into second, dug out by Hinsky. He's got himself a double, and if he gets a single tonight, he bats for the cycle. And Kazmir just can't get him out. He cannot get him out. Home run, triple, and a double.
Well, again, it's the type of swing we just talked about, a high pitch that he can stay on top of and not pop up. Look at that at the top of the strike zone. This one on the outer half, the last 2 on the inner half and up that he took to left field and to left center. This one up on the outer half, and he's got himself a double 3/4 of the way, and the toughest parts are over.
Here's J.D. Drew as he takes up and in for a ball. He has flied out and taken ball 4. Pedroia is just killing the ball. He is 3 for 3 tonight. There have been 20 cycles in team history. And maybe tonight is the night for number 21 for Dustin Pedroia. High fly ball pulled to right field, but that's foul. Deep into the corner off the bat of Drew. Red Sox ahead 2-1 and looking for more here in the 5th inning. Gary Glover getting going, by the way, Orel in their bullpen. J.D. Drew 0 for 6 in his career off of Kazmir. Play on at second, the throw in and mishandled by Bartlett. Pedroia back in. Bartlett did not drop a knee.
That's what I was thinking about watching right there for sure.
Pedroia, one of those players who's always filthy. He's wearing the game.
Dirt bag.
Night after night. The 1-1 to Drew is on the corner. Tough pitch. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
A well executed fastball by Scott Kazmir there. He's trying to make them get the out to the left field side of second base so Pedroia doesn't get moved over to third with less than 2 outs. Hard and away makes it hard for J.D. Drew to get the ball to the right side.
Drew has driven in 50. Lines that one into left center field. That's the biggest gap out there. It's going to go all the way to the wall. Pedroia is in to score. Drew is into second, now heading for third. He wants 3 bases. The throw won't get him. A run scoring triple for J.D. Drew, and the Red Sox lead it here 3-1.
J.D. Drew does a nice job hitting the ball where it's pitched. You know he wants to pull it, but once you have 2 strikes, 1 and 2, you hit for yourself with no outs. Dustin Pedroia reads the ball off the bat, sees that it's going to hit the gap, turns himself around. J.D. Drew goes hard right out of the box. Remember, the triple by Pedroia was in this same left center gap. J.D. Drew thinks he can make it, and he definitely goes in there easily.
Drew, the man who has done such a terrific job filling in the power gap and the RBI gap left by David Ortiz, comes through with an RBI here. And here's Ramirez, the guy that you really pointed at tonight at the top of the show as the Red Sox hitter who needs to get going.
And he sure hasn't. Strikeout and a ground ball to third. Got the RBI on the ground ball, but it really was a double play ball that Evan Longoria played into a fielder's choice.
Ramirez has loved hitting in this park in the past. He's hit 25 home runs in this building and 41 overall against Tampa Bay.
Now 143 RBIs, #1 in that category and in home runs against, as far as opposition with the most home runs or RBIs.
One of the odd things about Manny Ramirez's season to this point, he does have 52 RBIs. He does not have a sacrifice fly, and it's beyond the midway point. He does have a runner at third and nobody out here. But at the Trop, it's home sweet home basically for Manny. Most home runs by any Rays opponent. Of course, we've had a lot of bad pitching staffs in the past. That is no longer the case. He's feasted on those.
He's had trouble the last 3 nights with Kazmir, Matt Garza, and James Shields, the 3 starters.
The infield is in. A run is in for Boston. Drew at third. And the 1-2 pitch in there for strike 3. No argument by Manny Ramirez as he is caught looking at a breaking ball.
He's missing the fastball, the one that's hittable. He's chasing the high one, and then when the breaking ball comes out of that high fastball window where he's trying to be more disciplined, it freezes him. Kazmir hasn't been making many quality pitches, especially with his fastball, but right there, a nice sharp breaking ball.
Only his 3rd strikeout tonight. Here's Mike Lowell. He's walked and flied out to right, and that one down low for ball 1. Lowell in a hot streak right now. Overall at .298 with 12 home runs. Now Carlos Pena, the Rays first baseman, was asked before the series began as far as who are the best at their tools of the trade. He was very high on Mike Lowell, who grounds this one to third. Longoria holds the runner. That is out number 2, but he said, you know, if it's the 7th game of the World Series and we need a hit, if I'm playing on Mike Lowell's team, if I'm playing on any team, Mike Lowell is the guy that I want at the plate more than anybody. Madden out to talk things over here with Kazmir with 2 down and Youkilis about ready to dig in. We've got a moment, so let's go to John Saunders for a Sports Center in-game update. John?
Pedro Martinez on the mound for the Mets, facing Troy Glaus. And this one is hit deep to center field, and no question about it, gone with 2 aboard, 3-run shot. Cards have a 4-0 lead over the still struggling Mets.
All right, John, thank you very much. Kevin Youkilis is going to be put on here. They're going to walk him intentionally to put runners at first and third. They'll go after the struggling Veritek instead. With the game already 3-1 Boston in the 5th inning inside the Trop.
Kaz, 96 pitches. I'm sure Joe Madden went out there to see how he felt, to see if he wanted to continue. Told him probably empty the tank. This could be your last batter. We're going to walk, and then we're going to get Veritek. But young man, don't save anything to go deeper into this game. We're already reaching that 100 pitch mark.
Now Veritek overall just 12 hits in his last 99 at bats, and against Kazmir he is 5 for 24, and he has struck out 10 times. So the left-hander has pretty well had his way with the Red Sox captain. The 2 men on for Boston with 2 out. They've scored a run in the inning. Dustin Pedroia has scored all 3 Red Sox runs tonight. He's homered, tripled, and doubled.
The thing I'd most worry about right now if I'm a Ray is Veritek's slow bat and Kazmir's fastball wild to the left-hand batter's box side with that hole wide open on the right side. Just a routine ground ball. You walk to get to him, but that's a big hole.
0-1 on Veritek. He does have good power. He's hit 7 home runs. Although really fighting one of the worst slumps in recent years, his batting average has plummeted about 80 points over the last month. Kazmir with an 0-1 pitch. Now 0-2. Tampa Bay going for the sweep, but it's going to take a comeback tonight against the defending world champions.
Here's where you really have to trust your catcher if you're Scott Kazmir. Deoner Navarro really adept at blocking the ball if you want to throw that break ball in the dirt.
That one flipped toward the bullpen foul. Still 0-2.
Last night, Navarro saved a run with bases loaded by blocking a ball early in the game, and then later in the game drove in the insurance run to make it 3-1. He was, we talk about getting him onto the All-Star team. He was part of 2 runs last night in a 3-1 game.
Red Sox have not hit well with men in scoring position at all in this series. 1 ball and 2 strikes. And it's really been standing out because Tampa Bay won the first game by a run and last night by 2. Veritek trying to shake off the chains of this slump. They lead on the corners. And it's off Navarro. Here comes the run. Drew will score. And after making a terrific play last night, he can't stop this one. You said he has to trust his catcher. The run in to make it 4-1 Boston.
Well, Deoner looked like he got down quick enough. It looked like the ball just squirted off him. You try and get your shoulders and your hips square. You don't try and catch this ball at all. And it just looks like it hits his kneecap or something and squirts left. Let's take a look and see where it hits him as he tries to block it. He doesn't try and catch the ball. He guards the wicket, the hole in the middle. It just deflects off his arm.
And a wild pitch as Veritek takes it up high. 3-2. Youkilis advancing to second.
One of the last things a catcher will try to do in blocking a ball is to get their upper torso angled down, so if it does hit the top of their chest protector or in the chest area, that the ball is deflected straight down into the ground, not off to the side or up.
Youkilis in scoring position. 2 away and the 3-2 to Veritek. Swinging a ground ball towards short, and Bartlett slings it over in time. The Red Sox scored twice. The wild pitch certainly hurt Kazmir as well. We're halfway through at Tropicana. 4-1 Boston. At Tropicana Field, the fans living the high life inside the Power Alley Pub, which is packed these days to see the Rays who have the best record in Major League Baseball. Certainly a party-like atmosphere here, drawing crowds of over 30,000 now consistently, certainly for this series. Akinura Iwamura will lead things off. He has grounded out to second base, also flied out to center field. Facing Daisuke Matsuzaka, who's settled in pretty nicely here. He's retired 7 in a row, and 4 of them by strikeout after wobble guard when he walked 4 over the first 2 innings.
Those 7 in a row, the ball has not left the infield.
Getting the top of the order here for the Rays, and swatted at and missed by Iwamura. The count 0-2. If he strikes him out, this is going to be 4 consecutive Ks for Matsuzaka. One Japanese star trying to retire another. Iwamura recently back after missing the first game in this series, serving his suspension from the Fenway brawl. He pops it up into left, racing out Lugo. Moss coming on. Moss would like it, and that is out number 1. Time for our big league moment, a staple here on Wednesdays. Let's go to Aaron Andrews.
It's huge, Dave O'Brien, but tonight we're doing a very special one. And if you're a fan of SportsCenter, you know the story about John Chalice, 18 years old, diagnosed with liver and lung cancer. And you know, the outlook for him wasn't so good. Many people didn't even think he'd live to the first of the summer, but he's continuing to beat the odds and spread his message of courage plus believe equals life. And Rays manager Joe Maddon, he was watching ESPN. He saw the story about Chalice and decided to invite him when the Rays went to Pittsburgh. And kind of a funny moment right there in the press conference. Chalice was talking about how great it was to visit with the players and the managers and spread his message. And he dropped a devil raise. And Maddon said to him, look, you know what happens when you do that? You got to pay up. Oh, yeah, he made him pay. Someone kindly gave John a $1 bill, who he actually signed it for the team and put his message on there as well.
So Maddon fined him. That's what he fined John.
Even though you're a visitor, you still were fined. I have the $1 bill, which I've been guarding with my life tonight, that Joe Maddon gave us, and John Chalice writing his message right here on this $1 bill. He got a chance to meet several of his favorite players. He said Cliff Floyd was a guy he was excited to meet. Kind of reminded him of Big Papi, he said, kind of a big guy. And we saw on SportsCenter today that he met also with Alex Rodriguez and toured Yankee Stadium yesterday. So a fantastic story, and I know a lot of the players here in this Tampa Bay clubhouse enjoyed meeting him as well.
Wonderful story, Aaron, and what he wrote on the ball. You explained that message. Courage plus belief equals life. Last 2 years, John Chalice going through chemotherapy treatments in an effort to save his life. It's an adult form of liver cancer. The situation was so grim at one point, the doctors didn't expect him to make it through that first summer. But he's beaten the odds, came up with his first varsity hit, by the way, on April 11th. Now, Joe Maddon is himself a Western Pennsylvania man. John Chalice is from Freedom, Pennsylvania. And those Western Pennsylvania guys tend to stick together.
It's an amazing story, and you root for the young man. When I saw it on ESPN, I actually was like holding back tears. It was like, wow.
Crawford with a pop-up. And Lugo underneath it in the outfield for out number 2.
You know, Dice K, Chalice wanted to meet Cliff Floyd. Scott Boras went over in 2006 to meet with Dice K about coming to the United States. Dice K said, can you get me a jersey of my favorite player? And he expected maybe A-Rod or, you know, maybe Ichiro. He wanted the jersey of Jason Varitek. I thought it was absolutely amazing. I'm like, why is Dice K a big fan of Jason Varitek? But ended up carrying his bag in spring training, being a starting pitcher for the Red Sox.
Also, by the way, a Scott Boras client. So that was fairly easy to do. Jason very accommodating and helped move that negotiation along in the right way, you'd have to say.
I guess so.
Now, Matsuzaka has been gaining strength as the ball game has gone on here. He has retired 9 consecutive hitters. B.J. Upton has gone 0 for 2 tonight, although he did score a run after reaching on a fielder's choice and stealing a base in the first inning. The Red Sox have added on here, a run in the 3rd, 2 more in the 5th, and they lead at 4-1 in the bottom of the 5th inning. Tampa Bay going for a 3-game sweep. But Matsuzaka right now has those brooms stuck in the closet. He's trying for his 10th win of the season. Firing in a strike and a count 2-1.
When's the last time you used a broom? Been a while.
No, it's
No.
yeah. You? Do you own one?
Oh yeah, own them. Yeah, yeah. Swept out the garage the other day, I think.
Yeah.
I think.
I own stuff to cut my grass too.
Yeah. Do you use it?
Lawnmower, you know, get the shears and all that stuff.
Yeah.
I have no idea where it is.
Who uses it?
Well, we have a guy who does that.
Oh, a guy.
We have a guy who comes to the house and does that.
I don't have that.
No, you've got a team of them.
Exactly.
Fastball in for a strike, count 3-2.
One guy couldn't do my 40 acres, and it's all rocks in
You have
Vegas.
40 acres. I'm sorry. That's.
Oh, that's just the ranch. It's a small ranch.
Yeah. You're in Vegas, right?
Yeah, I'm in Vegas in a very small house.
Yeah, right. Outside for ball 4.
You can come stay in the bungalow.
A lot of call to cut the grass in Vegas, I guess, as we go to John Saunders for a Sports Center in-game update.
Well, Dave, they've decided to bypass the grass in this game right now. Ponzone on the mound for the Yankees. Milton Bradley over top of everything out to right field, home run. And then Chris Davis hits his 3rd home run in his first 7 Major League games. The Rangers have grabbed the lead now, 7-6, Dave.
You're right, John. They're not messing with that real estate between home plate and the fence. They're hitting it up and over everything. Here's Carlos Pena, who certainly has that kind of power too. He has walked and struck out. He fouls it away for strike 1.
It'll be interesting to see where they hit it during the home run hitting contest during the All-Star time there in Yankee Stadium. I'm sure will favor a left-handed hitter with that right field porch being so close.
What a star-studded event that is going to be. Did I read this correctly, where they are trying to make sure that every living Hall of Famer is there at Yankee Stadium for the All-Star game?
Wow.
Talk about a lineup. Pena's hit 11 home runs to date. He takes one up and away. 1 ball, 1 strike. Runner at first here. 4-1 Red Sox in the 5th. In Tampa Bay, we talked about how good they've been here at home. They're 32-13, but they are a respectable 19-19 on the road. Yeah, you win 2 out of 3 of your home games, and you split your games on the road. You might go to the playoffs. The runner goes, the throw, the tag not in time. Mike Lowell, the third baseman with a shift on, he was the man who had to take that throw. Veritek raced up the third base line just in case B.J. Upton, who has stolen 2 bases tonight, decided to take off for third. There was no one covering.
Well, Tampa Bay continues to push the running game. They're down 4-1. And they will just use every tool they have. This is not a team built on a tremendous amount of power, but they have power. But they have a tremendous amount of speed. They're not going to give away that tool.
Hideki Okajima, who has had his issues in the Red Sox bullpen, he has not been nearly as automatic as he was last year when he was an all-star. Loosens up in the bullpen. Daisuke's pitch count starting to get up there. The 2-1 to Pena evens the count of 2-2. That was 100 now for Matsuzaka.
Well, 13 more than his last outing. Remember, this is his 3rd outing since coming back from the shoulder tenderness. First outing was absolutely terrible. Couldn't get an out in the 2nd inning against St. Louis. Gave up 7 earnings. The next outing against Houston, 5 scoreless, and now here tonight.
Time asked for by Pena and granted quickly by Jerry Davis, the crew chief. Matsuzaka needs to get 1 more out to qualify for a win. And you know Francona wants to give him every opportunity to do that. He does have a 3-run lead here. Foul tipped into the mid. He strikes him out. That was a big K for Daisuke Matsuzaka. He holds that runner in scoring position. We've wrapped up 5. It is 4-1 Red Sox in Game 3 of the series.
ESPN Wednesday Night Baseball. Brought to you by One-A-Day Men's, the official multivitamin of MLB, specially formulated to support prostate health.
Back in Tampa, St. Pete. First ball swinging here. Moss pops it up off third base, giving chase Longoria, and reaches to make a fine play over near the fans for out number 1. Moss had singled his first 2 times up. So 1 man gone. Scott Kazmir done after 5 innings, giving way to Trevor Miller, who at 35 years old is the Rays' all-time leader in appearances. This is number 157.
And he is very effective against first batters, as we just saw. Batters are only hitting 167 off of them. This lefty's been here with the Rays for a long time. All-time leader as a left-hander in appearances with 156.
Well, he's been a part of a very successful bullpen turnaround, as that's fouled back by Lugo. 1 for 2 tonight. It's a bullpen that has, and this is fairly remarkable, knocked about 3 runs off of its ERA from last year.
Yeah, when you were over 6 last year, one of the worst bullpens in 50 years. But they brought in Dan Wheeler, Troy Percival, J.P. Howell makes the bullpen out of spring training, young pitcher with the Rays.
Ellsbury on deck, popped up, foul, back out of play.
And one of the things that can crush a young team, Joe Madden knew this best, is the fact that if you can't, that's Troy Percival right there, who came in and kind of the maitre d' of Tampa Bay. He's in that clubhouse making sure everybody's happy, imparting wisdom throughout. The 38-year-old tweaked his hamstring last couple days, had to go back on the DL. But his presence will be felt even when he's on the DL as far as his veteran leadership.
So the question is, who will close, at least for the next couple of weeks for Tampa Bay? No swing on Lugo, and the count 1 ball and 2 strikes. Percival, as you mentioned, just the other night, had to leave because of that tightness in his hamstring. This is back on May 28th, and that tightened up on him, and he had to come out. Dan Wheeler got the final out of that victory over Texas. But the other night, Percival, with 38, has over 300 saves, been one of the top save guys ever. He and Joe Madden kind of went at it a little bit, arguing on the mound after Percival again injured that hamstring and had to come out of the ballgame. He didn't want to come out.
No, it hadn't been right for a long time, and he would just back off his fastball and use his changeup.
Little flare into center, coming on Upton. He'll get there. 2 down. Joe Madden, I think, drew a lot of additional respect for how he handled this on the mound. It was on a play backing up where Percival was going behind third base and then wound up lame on that one, and then he went back out to the mound. Madden went out to get him. Percival did not want to leave the contest. You can see Percival even walking away for his manager there, and Madden went out and said, "No, you're coming out." They had him throw a couple of warm-up tosses, and it was still bothering him, but Percival refused to come out. That bunt popped up foul, and no one could make the play on it. Ellsbury tonight is 0 for 3. For a little more on that story, let's go down to Aaron Andrews. Aaron?
We were talking to some of the players about that incident, OB, and Cliff Floyd mentioned, you know, in the situation that happened right there and the fact that Joe Madden didn't listen to Percival and just said, "No, get out, you're done." Floyd said that shows he's a no-nonsense kind of guy, and he doesn't care who's, you know, telling him, "I'm not going to get out of the game." The next day, Troy Percival said, "You know, you're right. I'm sorry. I apologize. That was my fault." And Floyd says this is a guy that reminds him of Leland. He knows the game. He knows situations.
Although those two have known each other, Aaron, as you know, for a long time, back to instructional league in the Angels system, so they have a very strong relationship to begin with. But what Aaron just said was echoed throughout their clubhouse the very next day. I think even more respect for a manager who has done a tremendous job with this team this year.
It's one thing to have a bunch of young players when you bring in some veterans and then you still stand up to them and do what's best for the team and for the player. And do it not only back in the clubhouse or on the bench when maybe cameras aren't looking, but on the field in the middle of the fans, in the middle of a key situation, 1 out to go in the game, a closer that was brought in to really solidify your bullpen. He is a veteran presence and leadership in the clubhouse. You say, "Know what? The best thing is we got to get you out of there."
Base is empty, 2 down, 2 strikes on Ellsbury, who has gone hitless tonight. The man on deck is Dustin Pedroia. And if he singles in his next at bat, whenever it comes, he will hit for the cycle. He has homered, he has tripled, he has doubled, and he has scored every time he's reached. 1-2 pitch, foul, back to the screen.
Just
Ellsbury's still in there.
Just to finish up on the Joe Madden, Troy Percival story, when Joe Madden then talked about it, he complimented Troy and he said, you know what, that's what we want out there. That's the warrior mentality that has brought our bullpen around. So it was my job to know the whole complete situation and have a perspective on it. That's what we want him to have, that bull in a china shop warrior mentality who's out there. He wasn't in his logical thinking mode.
The 1-2 hits him. Ellsbury gets drilled, turns his back and takes it. He'll also take his base. And so Pedroia will bat here in the 6th inning with a chance to hit for the cycle.
Well, he's hit the ball when it's been in. It's hit the ball mostly. It's all been up, but the home run was a high fastball. The double, I think, is a high changeup. And then he gets a high fastball away for the double and hits it to right field. He's hit the ball where it's pitched. He's hit the ball when it's up. And he's only a single away from the cycle.
On this road trip for the Red Sox, he is 14 for 25. Trying to make it 21 cycles for the Red Sox. Allen's the last man to do it back in 1996. Jim Hickey, the pitching coach, was also drawing raves here in Tampa for his work with the staff. Meeting with Miller here. Red Sox have a base runner. They lead 4-1 in the 6th inning, but all eyes are on the man at the plate, Dustin Pedroia. A single away from hitting for the cycle. First pitch, there's a looper into center, coming on up, then he'll make the catch, and the side is retired. A broken bat may have cost Pedroia the cycle there. We'll get more chances tonight. For the Red Sox on top 4-1. Time now for our Bacardi Mojito game track, and Matsuzaka is done after 5 innings. He is in line for the victory. Scott Kazmir 5 innings as well, but gave up 4 earned runs. And Pedroia has a solo home run, a triple, and a double. He just popped out to center field. He should have more opportunities, obviously, to hit for the cycle here. It is 4-1 Red Sox. They bring on the left-hander Hideki Okajima. He is 1-2 with a save, an ERA of 3.15. He allowed the game-winning single to Mark Loretta in the 8th inning Sunday in Houston, entering the game in the middle of an inning for the first time since May 14th. Typically, they like to start him leading off an inning, and he's been more effective in that role.
Well, he used to be a constant, and last year he was the guy. He might have been an MVP on this club if he wasn't a reliever. But he's really struggled with his changeup, his split finger, the location of it this year. He is not a fastball pitcher. He's really an off-speed pitcher that uses his fastball to set those up. Somebody that Terry Francona could really rely on, and they need him back on the beam.
Well, a year ago, and for a good chunk of the first 81 games or so of the season, Okajima was still being used as the setup man, as the bridge to Jonathan Papelbon. But obviously, coming in the 6th inning here tonight, his role looks like it's changing. And Okajima is not talking to the press. He isn't even speaking to the Japanese press, and maybe going through a pretty severe confidence crisis right now. Papelbon starting to loosen up. A 3-run lead for his side, and into the dirt. 2 balls, 1 strike.
Well, his ERA over those last 11 appearances from .72 to 3.15. That's a big climb for a reliever.
Now, the good news from the Red Sox standpoint is that the veteran Mike Timlin, who has had tendonitis in a knee and has been sent to the minors to get healthy again, is pitching lights out. And the Red Sox would love to get Timlin back and working in their bullpen. He's been such a steady veteran presence and terrific relief pitcher for a long time. And they are hoping they can get some more out of Mike Timlin for a stretch drive.
Isn't that what happened with him last year? He went down to the minors to get fixed.
That's exactly right. He worked his way back into a very important role as Hansen gets ready. Hard-throwing right-hander in their bullpen. So they're hoping to have Timlin back very shortly. 3-1 busted bad, looped over short and into left center field. Longoria on with his 2nd hit of the ball game. This one beginning the bottom of the 6th for the Rays as we go to John Saunders back in the studio for a Sports Center right now.
Well, Dave, the Seattle Supersonics will be playing in Oklahoma City next year. It's going to cost owner Clay Bennett $75 million. Plus, the Sonics will retain the logo and the team colors in case they get another team. Meanwhile, there'd been talk about Brett Favre saying he had an itch to come back and play, according to Chris Mortensen. Well, Favre says it's all a rumor. But then again, everything's a rumor until it happens.
Well, a lot of fans would love to see him back. I thought he was over and done, though. I thought that was a wonderful way for Brett Favre to sort of walk off into the sunset. Here's Willie Ibar batting for Cliff Floyd. They get a right-hand stick up there. Floyd walked and grounded out tonight. He was 0 for 1.
They want to make him tear the uniform off you. In football, they do that. If your knees aren't healthy enough and you can't get out of the way, they're going to tear it off you.
Gotcha. Longoria on at first base. That's just the third hit of the night for the Rays. A half a wave and a miss by Ibar. And it is quickly 0-2.
Well, Ibar in the middle of a current hitting streak right now. He's 6 for 20. He's got a 5-game hitting streak. Switch hitting. Infielder.
Nobody out. Longoria gets his lead, and it's popped up into foul ground. There's Youkilis for the easy play. One man gone. Navarro coming up. Let's go to Aaron Andrews with a special guest inside Tropicana Field.
Well, I'm here with the mayor of Tampa. I mean, I'm just joking. I'm here with Dick Vitale, who's had season tickets since day one. I'm not supposed to do this, but I'm basically going to give you my microphone because I'm not going to get a word in edgewise. What is the vibe in Tampa Bay right now with these Rays?
Well, I'll tell you one thing, Aaron. They've really been exciting because of the great defense. Longoria and certainly Jason Bartlett have been terrific. Great athletes at Upton and certainly Crawford. It's exciting. It's exciting for the area. It's great to see 36,000 people here. And I'll tell you one thing. I'm excited about it.
I can't tell you're excited at all. Hey, you got to meet Evan Longoria today for the first time. What was that like? You've met everybody.
I'll tell you, he's a terrific kid and a great player. I thought he should have been up in the majors last year, but I understand why they kept him down. I hope they bring up David Price by September, a great left-handed young kid who can really be an asset pitching. I think with their pitching with Shields, Garza, and certainly Cashmere, who was not Cashmere today, they got a chance. I mean, certainly when you look at the Yankees and you look at the Red Sox, they're not going to go away. But I'll tell you one thing. I think Tampa Bay is in for a run all year. They're not going to go away. They're too talented.
You have the ears of basically everyone, everywhere. A few players in that Rays clubhouse said who they would like to get trade-wise. Who do you think these Rays maybe should pick up?
Well, I think they need another outfielder. I think another guy with some pop. If they can find an outfielder, just think what they could have had. It could have been Upton, it could have been Crawford, and Josh Hamilton. That would have been unbelievable. And if they can get Rocco Baldelli healthy and get him here in September, that certainly would help. Joe Maddon's done a terrific job. He's done a great job. Not as great as you know. I'll tell you one thing.
Absolutely.
All I know is this. If Bo Derek's a 10, you're a 15.
Wow. And Lorraine, she's a 25.
35.
30. Excuse me, 35.
Lived with me for 37 years. Wow, for her to live with me for 37 years?
Let's give her 105.
Hey, let me just tell you this.
Okay.
One of my heroes is up there. Orel Hershiser.
Yes.
Can I get his autograph? I want Orel's autograph. Could you help me out?
It may cost you. Dave O'Brien in the house as well.
Well, he's a Red Sox guy. He's a homer. He's a Red Sox guy. He's a homer.
Aaron,
Not
now
on
what's
Wednesday
his
night.
name?
What's that?
What's
his
his
name is
name?
Dick
Dick?
Vitale.
Okay,
You may have
Dick.
heard of him. He's a PT peer, if you will.
Oh,
hey,
okay, I
we
know.
saw you on the cell phone a lot. I mean, you got to pay attention with these seats.
Well, I'm on a cell phone. I'm calling up my daughter all the time. Want to find out how the grandkids are doing. I can't wait to go to Boston. I'm taking my grandkids there next Friday and Saturday to Fenway Park. It's going to be a blast.
Well, make sure you pay attention there, too. Stay off the phone. Enjoy the seats, will ya?
I will try.
Good to see ya.
Great seeing you, Aaron.
All right, back up to you guys.
Rather well-informed Dick Vitale. We may let him into Fenway. And you signed him. It's very well done. Beautiful signature on your part.
To
Orel.
Dick, a PT peer.
Sure. Gomes fouling that one back. Well, if Dick Vitale wants an autograph.
We got it.
Yeah.
He's going to have to come up here and get it. And get off the cell phone.
Yeah. You might as well give these up if that's the case.
Yeah, if he comes up.
Great to see Dick.
We don't have a spare headset, do we? Take it out of the booth.
Two men out here and a runner at first base. Okajima gave up a leadoff single. Now trying to get the next three in order here. Johnny Gomes batting for Hinske, and that one fouled away. The bat explodes as well. We've seen that several times tonight, which has really become an epidemic in Major League Baseball. The maple bats just coming apart in pieces like this. And look at, I mean, look at how sharp that end is. I mean, both pieces, but he's got a sword in his hand.
Yeah, it's getting dangerous, and people are making comments, but the younger generation player growing up with the aluminum bat that's a skinny handle and then a big barrel, and as more and more of them get to the big leagues, they want that same feel when they get to the big leagues with a wooden bat. And it seems like the maple bat is breaking more when it is in that form compared to the ash bat.
Well, it's happened a couple of times over the last few years where a pitcher has been struck by a broken bat. An umpire has been hit by a piece of a broken bat and drawn blood. There haven't been serious injuries in that regard. You wonder, however, that it's simply a matter of time before someone does get seriously hurt.
Well, it has a lot to do with the water content in the bat that they take out.
High fly ball jacked deep down the left field line, but foul. And Gomes actually striking that one. Is that in fair territory? It is being ruled in fair territory by the third base umpire, Brian Gorman. That one got the catwalk.
If it hits the catwalk in foul territory and drops in fair, it's foul ball.
And now the home plate umpire, Jerry Davis, has ruled it foul. The third base umpire, Gorman, who just got an earful from Mike Lowell, he ruled it fair.
Well, I think Mr. Gorman saw the ball drop in fair territory, ruled it fair, but he didn't see where it was struck in the ceiling. Jerry Davis saw where the ball hit and called it foul.
Now the other night, Monday night, in the ninth inning, they had one strike the catwalk in right field, and it was in fair territory. It landed in fair territory, and it went for an extra base hit. Almost helped the Red Sox to a win.
That's when Troy Percival was in the game and tweaked his hamstring. Going to be very hard to see.
It's foul all the way, but then it comes into fair territory, but it struck the catwalk foul. And you see the third base umpire there, Brian Gorman, then ruled it fair. Quickly overruled by Jerry Davis. In any event, I think both sides hated the idea of the building coming into play and maybe helping to determine a ball game.
Exactly.
That's the part of it that makes Tropicana feel very circus-like. That series
part
of catwalks.
Tropicana that makes you want them to get a new stadium.
Well, new stadium idea has been shot down here. At least the ball club has pulled it off because it didn't look like it had any chance whatsoever of getting past. It's a swing and a foul back by Gomes. It was going to be right on the water, and they decided that this was not maybe the time. Maybe next year, if they wind up going to the playoffs this year, come next year or the year after, they'll take another run at the ballpark. And of course, you have a lot of senior citizens here who do not have a lot of disposable income, and they don't necessarily want to see a ballpark built out of their pocketbook for a major league club. The Marlins have had a lot of the same issues over in Miami. There's a swing and a miss by Gomes, and that will retire the side. One man is left. That's the end of 6 inside Tropicana Field with all its catwalks. It is 4-1 Red Sox. Are you ready for the 2008 Major League Baseball All-Star Game? Catch all the action live from New York on Tuesday, July 15th. Coverage beginning at 7 p.m. Remember, this one counts. Orel Hershiser, Dave O'Brien, and Aaron Andrews, along with Dick Vitale, with you from Tropicana Field. As J.D. Drew bloops that one into right field for a base hit. He had tripled his last time up. That's how the 7th inning gets underway. He is 2 for 3. Johnny Gomes is the new right fielder as he came on for Hinske. He's the man who torched that one up into the catwalk. Now here comes Madden coming out to take out Miller. It'll be Gary Glover, the right-hander, to replace him. He'll be brought in to face Manny Ramirez. We have a break for the pitching change. Red Sox in the lead 4-1 in the 7th inning at the Trop. The single all summer long off the album entitled Rock and Roll Jesus by Kid Rock on Wednesday Night Baseball from Tropicana Field. Red Sox in the lead here 4-1. They'll let Manny Ramirez due up against the right-hander Gary Glover coming out of the bullpen.
Well, Gary's last appearance was 3 innings. It's his longest of the season. Last year used mainly as an 8th inning guy, closer guy, led the team with 66 appearances. Now with Troy Percival here, Dan Wheeler here, Trevor Miller and J.P. Howell doing the job. A little bit more middle relief for Glover now.
As mentioned, Percival on the disabled list. Grant Balfour and Howell are both unavailable tonight, according to Joe Madden. They've been used a lot in the series. He's going to stay away from them this evening if it comes to a closing situation for Tampa Bay. Manny Ramirez has struck out, grounded out, and struck out again. His average all the way down to 280. He is in a 10 for 57 skid here. Terry Francona's got the offense from other people tonight, most notably Dustin Pedroia, who has one of everything except a single in his 4 at-bats. Home run, triple, and a double. There have been slightly more guys hit for the cycle than guys who have thrown no-hitters in the history of Major League Baseball, but it's a lot closer than you might think. And is outside, 1 ball, 2 strikes.
When Manny Ramirez is in a slump like this, that was his teammate 95, 96, 97 with the Cleveland Indians. And we used to say, somebody's going to pay.
1-2 pitch right underneath Navarro all the way to the backstop. Drew will move up 90 feet on a wild pitch from Glover. So the Red Sox have their 5th run of the night, ready to score on a base hit from Ramirez, who has driven in 53 runs. Mike Lowell on deck. Another big crowd here at Tropicana Field. Red Sox fans trying to get up a Boston chant, and the Rays fans are shouting them down, or trying to. 2-2 on the way, slice foul by Ramirez.
Well, our hotel's got a lot of Red Sox fans at it. You see a lot of red shirts, Veritek jersey, Manny Ramirez jerseys running around the lobby. We're about 3 miles from the Trop.
Sox fans encouraging them to enjoy second place now. They believe the Red Sox will be back on top at some point, but it's a 2.5 game lead right now for the Rays. And the talk around baseball is not of a Red Sox-Yankees series necessarily, but Yankees and the Red Sox and Tampa Bay. Yankees are 7.5 games out.
But they're back above 500. And they're playing a little better. This is a very strong division. The American League East. There's only one team under 500. And the Rays, they're 25 and 13.
Fly ball into right field. Gomes is back with room. Drew will tag up, and he will advance into third base on a fly out by Manny Ramirez, who is 0 for 4. A glance at the American League East with Tampa Bay on top. You mentioned Baltimore, the Yankees, the Red Sox, and the Rays all over 500, and only Toronto in the division is under.
Tampa Bay not 25 and 13, 23 and 15 in their own division. So 4 out of 5 teams over 500, and they are 23 and 15 in their own division. That's the best by far.
And here's the other thing the American League East should take note of. The Rays will face last place Toronto, last place Cleveland, and 4th place Kansas City a combined 18 times in July. All of those teams are under 500. They've got the Royals the next 4 days. So there's a very good possibility that they're going to be in first place for a while.
At least into the All-Star break.
Mike Lowell 0 for 2 with a walk. The infield is in. He eyeballs a strike here. 1 ball, 1 strike. Drew at third. 1 man out. 4-1 Red Sox in the top of the 7th.
They've had the infield in a lot tonight. It almost seems like Boston should be blowing them out, but they're hanging in there, and they're within striking distance. This is another key situation, part of this game.
Lowell is driven in 47. He pops it up. Pena heading for his dugout. He is there to make the catch. A fine play right on the railing. Drew had to hold it third. 2 down.
Well, Carlos Pena does a much better job on this pop-up than he did earlier in the game. He kind of cruised over there last time and kind of felt for the rail. This time he busted it over there, got to the rail, knew exactly where it was, made it very routine. Deoner Navarro did not even have to come over there and help out or slide in with his pads to try and make a save. That was Carlos' ball all the way.
So for the second time tonight, Tampa Bay will put Youkilis on to walk him intentionally so as to go after the slumping Varitek, who is 0 for 2 tonight. And deciding not to mess with Youkilis, who is a .306 hitter and has driven in 50.
The last time they walked Uke to get to Varitek, Varitek didn't come through, but Kazmir threw the wild pitch that scored the runner from third. So good strategy by Joe Madden putting him on. Just the breaking ball in the dirt with the man on third cost him the run.
So an intentional pass of Youkilis, first and third here for the Red Sox, and Jason Varitek, who has just 12 hits in his last 100 at bats, will get in on the left side. And this is the side of the plate, even more than the right side, that has really troubled the Red Sox catcher. Coming into the night, hitting just .210 against right-handers. There are 2 away. Fouled away for strike 1.
I'm even a little surprised that the Rays are holding on Kevin Youkilis. He's not a threat to steal a base. You don't want that routine ground ball. I should see Carlos Pena cheating off of there early. The Red Sox don't want Varitek leading off next inning. Youkilis would get thrown out. And now they're playing behind him now.
Red Sox trying to add to their lead. It would take perhaps Varitek getting out of his slump in order to do it. The count moves to 0-2. J.D. Drew at third base and Kevin Youkilis over at first. The fans here at Tropicana Field itching for a strikeout. Here comes the 0-2 pitch from Glover. He got him for strike 3. Varitek 0 for 3 in this one. Tampa Bay trying to get the offense in gear. Carl Crawford, the speed merchant, due up third. Sunday Night Baseball presented by Taco Bell on ESPN at 8 Eastern. Another chapter in the Sox-Yankees rivalry as the Red Sox march into Yankee Stadium. ESPN's Game of the Week. Tim Wakefield will go in 5-6. He's been a tough luck guy. An ERA under 4. And Jabba Chamberlain. Look at that ERA of 2.22 for Chamberlain. And coming off a terrific outing. You talk about a clash in styles. Wakefield and Chamberlain on Sunday Night Baseball.
Velocity versus the butterfly.
Now Manny Del Carmen coming out of the bullpen for the Red Sox. He throws awfully hard as well. He gets the 9, 1, and 2 hitters here in the bottom of the 7th.
Last year with that 2.05 ERA, like Okajima, might have spoiled the Red Sox. Sometimes it's very, very hard to predict what your bullpen guys are going to do. They have up and down years.
Bartlett has flied out to center and also struck out. Jason Bartlett getting his sleep when he can these days. The father of a newborn, Jaden Bartlett, born 1 week ago. In fact, Jason was caught napping on a trainer's table before last night's game. So wherever and whenever.
Caught or rewarded with the nap.
Right. Leading off the bottom of the 7th, he takes outside for ball 3. Tampa Bay trying to build a rally here. Iwamura on deck, and then Crawford. If anybody reaches, B.J. Upton. It is certainly a lineup built more on speed than power. Bartlett has yet to homer on the season. And it's an attack really fashioned after what the Angels have been doing and winning with over the years. That's in there for a called strike.
So no surprise that they would play like the Angels after Joe Maddon left the Angels out there in California. Coached under Mike Scioscia. Really a National League style play in American League ball.
Pumped in there for a strike. 3-2.
Aggressive base running preach from day one for Tampa Bay, that go first to third, push the envelope, and with this speed, Mike Scioscia does it out there all the time with not even fast runners. Joe Maddon's got much better assets to push the base running here in the defense.
Fly to the right field corner, and that one will bounce fair. Up against the fence. Bartlett into second. He'll hold up there with a double as he drove that one to right field. So a good start to the bottom of the 7th inning for the Rays. Their leadoff man is on.
On the 3rd and 4th, they didn't get anybody on. In the 5th and 6th, they set the table a little bit. But right here with nobody on, nobody out, start the rally. You got a chance for a sweep still. You're only down by 3. You've got 3 at bats left, and now you've got your guy on second. Bartlett does a nice job starting that rally on a high fastball, hitting that where it was pitched.
Tampa Bay's first extra base hit of the ball game. Here's Iwamura. He's gone 0 for 3 with a ground out and a pair of flyouts. And he takes the first one over but low for ball 1. Well, the Red Sox with a 4-1 lead.
As Kosuke Fukudome has had a huge impact on the Chicago Cubs, so is Iwamura here in Tampa Bay. Just the defense that he plays in the infield, the ability to move from third base to second base, the quality at bats that he puts on pitchers every day at the top of the order.
Hitting .274, tried to hold up, could not. That's a swinging strike, and the count 1-1. Well, he's hit in 6 consecutive games. Against Del Carmen, some issues though. 1 out of 8 with a pair of Ks.
The hitters from the Far East seem to have a lot of action in the box. You think of Fukudome and Ichiro and Iwamura, but they keep their heads still and they have great eye-hand coordination.
Runner goes. Here's the throw down to third. The tag. He's safe. He got in there. Bartlett on the move. Part of that aggressiveness you were preaching there. A little bit shaken up as he hit the bag awkwardly. And Bartlett unable to get to his feet. Finally does, but shaken up.
Stolen off of Del Carmen, just no look at all. Very risky play though. Down 3, 7th inning. You're already on second base in scoring position and there's no outs. And you see that ankle goes against the corner of the bag. He's trying to slide away from the tag. Fortunate just to stay on there after the slight twist. Just going to test that thing down at third.
Bang bang play. 4th stolen base tonight for Tampa Bay. Bartlett trying to walk it off there. He twisted that ankle. He will stay in.
That wasn't stolen off Jason Varitek. That was stolen off the pitcher. It was a huge jump.
Iwamura, a .250 batting average with runners in scoring position. The infield is backed up. Nobody out. And stopped by Varitek. 3-1.
Well, Boston will give up 1. You got to remember they're going to play an 8-inning game. They got Jonathan Papelbon in the 9th. They just want to get to the 9th with a 1-run lead. Their closer will probably make the All-Star team.
Well, if Papelbon works in this one, he is certainly going to hear it from the fans here at Tropicana. He had some comments after the brawl. In fact, many days after the brawl, kept that thing percolating. Iwamura's hit 5 home runs. 3 of them have come against the Red Sox. He takes a strike, 3-2. Nobody out. Red Sox up 4-1. Tampa Bay gunning for a 3-game sweep. If they come back and win tonight, they're going to have a 3.5 game lead over the Red Sox in early July. These are heady times indeed for the young Rays.
And this is their time to capitalize on that soft underbelly of this Red Sox team. You know, Dice K can't go deep into the game. They're looking for that link to Papelbon. These are the kind of guys that need to step up. Del Carmen, Ardsma, Hansen.
Runner at third, the 3-2 fouled away.
And one of the assets of the big budget clubs, $139 million or so, I think, with Boston compared to what Tampa Bay can spend, is the fact that in these middle relief innings, in the places on the bench, having an Alex Cora, this is where the big market clubs really have an advantage a lot of times. They can finish off the ball club with the bigger budget.
Tampa Bay with the 8th lowest payroll in the majors. 3-2 roll toward the hole. A sliding stop. Youkilis going to be close. He's not going to get there, and the runner is safe. The runner is in. Bartlett scores. It's 4-2. A base hit and an RBI for Iwamura, who beat it up that line quickly. Del Carmen could not get there to cover. Still nobody out.
Well, there was a little bit of a zoom in the Del Carmen break to first. First of all, it's so far from first base that you think, well, the second baseman's going to get it, and the first baseman's going to cover the bag. So he hesitated there, getting out of the dirt of the mound. Iwamura did a great job hustling all the way, and he just flat out beats him. But you see Del Carmen right there in the picture in the lower right-hand corner. There was a lot of hesitation. He assumed that Pedroia was going to get the ball, Youkilis would have first, and he was late.
Here's Carl Crawford on the night, 1 for 2 with a single, a stolen base. He's also popped out to short, and he's taken a walk, hitting .273. So good speed on at first base, great speed in the batter's box. Crawford, by the way, 3 out of 4 in his career against Del Carmen. The crowd is starting to come back to life here, as that one is sliced foul the other way. 1 ball and 1 strike. 4-2 Boston.
Well, speed doesn't slump, and Iwamura hustled out of the box. Bartlett stole second on Del Carmen's laziness as far as a look. He is not into this game out there. He's let the running game fall asleep on him. He hasn't covered first base, and he's let Tampa Bay back in this game.
Crawford has hit 8 home runs, knocked down by Veritek, had to scramble for it. 2 balls, 1 strike. Crawford finally snapped an 0 for 17 skid with a base hit in the second. We'll see if he is out of his mini slump at the expense of Terry Francona. Crawford, a real tough one to double up with his wheels. Through the hole for a base hit. Iwamura into second. He's heading for third. Drew's throw is cut off. Runners at first and third, nobody out, and here comes Tampa Bay. 3 consecutive hits in the bottom of the 7th. Now Francona coming out to make the pitching change. He's going to bring in the left-hander. I should say the right-hander in Hansen. Hansen coming on to pitch, and we'll be back with more in just a moment from Tropicana Field.
John Saunders back in the studio, and the SportsCenter in-game. The Texas Rangers struggling with the Yankees, and especially with Jason Giambi. Sends this one to the gap with runners on first and second. Abreu and A-Rod coming to score. Giambi 6 runs batted in the game. 5th time he's done that in his career. 12-7. Dave.
All right, John, this place has certainly come alive with brooms everywhere. Remember, the Red Sox have not won in this building this year. Tampa Bay has won 5 straight. Greg Hansen, hard-throwing righty out of the Boston bullpen. This will be his 25th appearance.
And he has not been good on the road. You see the 4.74 ERA. Well, he's 6.17 on the road. And of the inherited runners that he's gotten, 6 of 8 have come in, 75%. So this game is tighter than you think. First and third, no out.
And again, speedy men on the bases, good speed in the batter's box. And Upton, who has gone 0 for 2 with a walk tonight, he also has stolen 2 bases. 4-2 Boston. Outside to make it 2-0. Now this is the kind of spot where in past years the Rays would have folded the tent, probably long since.
Yep, they continue to come at you. Speed does not slump. Crawford stole with 2 outs. Last time with first and third and B.J. Upton up. He stole on the 3rd pitch. They will continue to push the envelope. Sooner or later, he will be leaving first base.
The 2-0 not running, and that's low for ball 3. Hansen can't find the plate.
He might not need to steal. They might just walk him around.
A run in. Iwamura at third. Crawford at first. Here's the 3-0. Upton taking all the way. B.J. Upton, his younger brother Justin, is the starting right fielder for the Arizona Diamondbacks. And of course, J.D. Drew, the right fielder for the Red Sox, his brother Steven is the Diamondbacks' everyday shortstop. Crawford runs, and it's ball 4. The bases are loaded for Tampa Bay. Upton accepts his second free pass tonight. John Farrell will pay a mound visit here. Red Sox are going to get David Aardsma loosening in their bullpen.
Well, different roles in the bullpen and different makeup that you look for. Some guys like to start their own innings, can't come into other people's jams. Other guys pitch better when they're ahead. Some guys pitch better when you're behind. You really have to figure out your bullpen and what the makeup is and where their stuff is. But I know it's frustrating to fans to sit at home and watch guys walk people in key situations, but when there's nobody on an 8-run lead, they throw great strikes, they throw great breaking balls, and you go, why can't this guy do it in a pressure situation? Some guys just can't figure it out.
And then there's 36,048 screaming in your ears. Tonight's attendance, they drew over 101,000 here for the 3 games. That is exceptional for Tampa Bay. They believe they have begun a new era.
Well, I would rather play in front of this than when it was 5,000 people, because 5,000 people, one voice can get you in your concentration. This, when you're on the mound, is like a dull roar by the ocean, and you feel like you're all by yourself and you can concentrate.
We'll see how that works out for Hansen. Here's Pena. 5 grand slams in his career, and a real good hitter with the bases loaded. Iwamura, Crawford, and Upton fill him up. Nobody out. Outside for ball 1. Pena hit 46 home runs a season ago for Tampa Bay. Not many people noticed. But they are starting to notice everything the Rays do now, the best record in the majors. They're only 2 runs down here in the bottom of the 7th. Into the dirt for ball 2.
The scouting reports come from all places, and Upton, who just walked, motioning to Pena, saying, you know what, make him get the ball up. When he's walking me, the balls are all low. Make him get it up. When the ball is down, Hansen's ball has tremendous movement, but he has a trouble throwing it for strikes.
Now Pena swinging a bat with a still broken left index finger. He says it will not heal until the season's over. 3-0. He has not had to swing the bat yet.
And if the finger's bothering him at all, he will take a pitch, maybe even 2. He's in there because he wants to play, he wants to be part of this special environment, and he wants to contribute, and his presence in the lineup is huge for this club.
The 3-0 pitch in for a called strike. The Red Sox have already issued 6 walks tonight. Throughout the series, Tampa Bay has been far more patient than the Red Sox lineup. A hitter's count for Pena. Bases jammed for Madden. Missed inside, and that's going to force in a run. That is ball 4. Iwamura will cross the plate. That makes it 4-3 Boston. And still nobody out.
Where's your broom now?
Well, Del Carmen, the man who started this mess, and Hansen having a lot of trouble getting out of it. Nobody out. And here's Longoria, the rookie, with 2 singles tonight. Ball 1, and Hansen is all over the place. He is missing badly.
You know, at the end of every season, they look back and they say, where were the landmarks? Where did this championship season really, did you start to believe, did the nation start to know it was for real? It could be this inning right here if this series finishes in a sweep.
Ardsma is ready, all warmed up in the Sox bullpen, but right now it's Hansen with a man at every base. And for the Red Sox on this Wednesday night, the Wolf is really at the door here in the 7th inning. Grounded foul. 1 ball and 1 strike. You mentioned it earlier tonight. Longoria just looks so calm and cool and collected for a kid who has played a little more than half of 1 major league season.
Well, you'd be blind if you didn't see the talent, but to see the poise and the character and how slow the game is in his mind, that's remarkable.
The 1-1. Swing and rocketed into left center field. That's going to roll all the way to the warning track. Crawford is in. Upton is in. That's a double. 2 more runs on the scoreboard. And the Tampa Bay Rays have taken a 5-4 lead with nobody out in the 7th inning. How do you like this? Here comes Francona again.
July 2nd at 10:12 in the evening. Off a 1-0 pitch. He gets a ball in the middle of the plate, and he hits a double to put us ahead. And it could be a double that puts them ahead for the rest of the year. They're in first place, and they got a chance to sweep the Boston Red Sox.
So far, a 4-run 7th. 6 men up in this inning. 4 have scored.
John Saunders in the studio with our Sports Center in-game. A-Rod at the plate, and A-Rod launches this one to right field. Number 535 in his career, a 3-run shot. Now alone in 14th place, passing Jimmy Fox. 1 more home run, he catches the great Mickey Mantle.
All right, John, thank you. Back at Tropicana Field, Hansen knocked out of the game by Longoria. And here's Ibar, 0 for 1 tonight. Runners at 2nd and 3rd for Tampa Bay. And they have vaulted into the lead 5-4. A shocking turn of events here against the Red Sox bullpen. You talked about the soft underbelly of the Red Sox. It is certainly this portion of the bullpen. And Tampa Bay trying to capitalize. That is outside on Ibar, hitting left-handed.
Well, Thea Epstein's probably going to be on the phone finding out how Mike Timlin's doing, how others are doing, because he's got to look for answers here.
So Ardsma comes on for his 35th appearance of the season, trying to stop the bleeding. That's down and in for a ball. 2-1 the count. Pena and Longoria both in scoring position. And Terry Francona hoping somebody out of his bullpen can get him 3 outs. Tampa Bay has taken a 5-4 lead, and that one fouled back by Ibar. 2-2.
You're just looking for somebody to stop the bleeding. The first thing you need to do is get ahead in the count, stop walking people. Get the first batter out that you face. You have to restore some confidence and some order.
Now, Tampa Bay began this half inning down 4-1. They now lead 5-4. Swinging a ground ball. Nice stop there by Youkilis. Drops it, flips it to Ardsma. The runners hold, and they get their first out. As Ibar is set down at first base, one away.
I remember Del Carmen was late on the break on a ball hit to the right side. Youkilis kind of dribbles it, but does a good job getting over there. Ardsma getting his footwork squared away to receive that throw from coming from behind him. Youkilis did a nice job staying with it.
Pena holding there at third base. Longoria at second. The infield still in tight here for the Red Sox. And Deanna Navarro becoming the 8th man to hit in this inning. He's gone 0 for 3. As you can see, he's been a good hitter this season for Tampa Bay, hitting .312. He takes ball 1.
He's probably the most improved player on their team, and Terry Francona knows it.
Red Sox bullpen in this inning has been disastrous. Ardsma, who can hit 98, is too high with that one at 95. Red Sox pitchers in this inning have thrown 37 pitches to get 1 out.
Velocity at the big league level, you'll hear it around clubhouses, benches, batting cages. A big league hitter can time a bullet if he knows it's coming. And when you fall behind in the count, your velocity will help you. You'll get away with a few mistakes, but they'll figure out where it's going to be pretty soon.
2-0 pitch, missed badly there. 3-0. One more like that, and they're loaded up again for the slugger, Johnny Gomes, who hit one off the catwalk in foul territory earlier tonight down the left field line. Well, now they're going to put him on. Navarro will be walked intentionally. This will reload the bases. So the Red Sox are looking for the double play to get out of the inning. And Gomes will be the 9th man to swing here in the bottom of the 7th. It's already a 4-run inning for Tampa Bay. The key blow to this point, Evan Longoria, who's looking more and more like the rookie of the year in the American League. A 2-run double.
His first double, a hanging breaking ball. He looks very calm in the box. Second one picks on a high fastball in a key situation. You look at that look right there. He's got the blinders on, the tunnel vision. He's calm as could be. He knows this game inside and out.
Well, now they will pull back Gomes and bring up the lefty hitting Gross. He has been announced, and that's the cue for Terry Francona to make his move and bring on Javi Lopez, the left-hander. And the ball game may come down to this. Bases loaded, 1 man out, 5-4 Tampa Bay in the 7th. Back with more in a moment. Well, that man, the left-hander Javier Lopez, is the 4th pitcher to work in this inning for Terry Francona.
And it's the first hot hand he could really bring into a game that's been throwing the ball well. Worked 2 1/3 scoreless innings in his last 2 games, while only allowing 1 run over his last 12 1/3.
Bases are loaded up. Pena, Longoria, and Navarro. And the first pitch to Gross is outside as he checks his swing. Still only 1 man out. No place to put this hitter. Hitting .234. Gross with good power. He's hit 6 home runs. Tampa Bay has taken the lead 5-4 and stunned the Red Sox here. Big swing and a miss by Gross. 1 ball, 1 strike. Now, you mentioned that Lopez is a hot hand for Francona. And he has been that. A 1.25 ERA in his last 25 games. Left-handers hitting .222 against him, although he's given up a pair of home runs to lefties. Fouled away by Gross. Lopez gets in front 1-2.
You look at this Ray team and you think about all the different tentacles of the Rays, and you know the octopus has 8, but this guy right here, acquired on April 23rd, is as big as any of them. The 28-year-old outfielder has really chimed in. He is one of the guys that Joe Maddon can call on to get the big hit. Came over from Milwaukee.
The 1-2, side-armed and fouled back to the screen. We've touched on it tonight. Maddon believes it's a real strength of his ball club that they don't rely on any one facet of the game or any one or two players. Certainly not inside the lineup, because he has nobody having anything close to a career year, really. Bartlett started this with a double. He would eventually steal third. He got shaken up on the play, but hung in there and scored. 2-2 on Gross.
Well, so much is that who's the Ray that's the most valuable? They're having a tough time even within their own clubhouse or manager finding their all-star. J.P. Howell in the bullpen, maybe. Is it going to be Navarro behind the plate? Navarro's tough game today. Maybe that starts getting talked about on the talk shows and by your manager. That's why he's had a tough time defensively behind the plate tonight.
They're certainly deserving of several all-stars. Their bullpen collectively. Here's the 2-2. Foul tipped and into the mitt. He got him. Strike 3. Gross fans, 2 down.
Well, tough left-on-left situation. If you can get the ball away from a left-handed hitter like Lopez does right here, he paints the black out there low and away. Outstanding pitch finally for Terry Francona and the Boston Red Sox.
So now it's Lopez against Bartlett, the right-hand hitter, as Gross strikes out. Bases loaded up here with 2 down. Bartlett's gone 1 for 3 with that double. First pitch fouled away off to the right for strike 1.
You talked earlier in the inning about there's no give up in the Rays, and you see it in each one of their faces. People asked me today on ESPN News, I did a hit before the game, you know, how does this team have confidence? Do they really think they can do this? Well, looking at their eyes tonight, it's for sure they can do it, and they believe it.
Well, this inning has certainly proven that in a huge way. The 0-1 low, 1 ball and 1 strike.
Well, Joe Maddon's very, you know, he has a lot of sayings. He puts up a lot of posters and signs around the locker room. One says 9 equals 8. And I had trouble deciphering it until I got to the end of the article, and they finally told me what it meant. It's 9 guys together equals one of the 8 playoff teams.
So from the very beginning, Maddon has had that as the focus, not simply getting better, not being respectable, but being one of the best. Lined up the middle and a base hit into center field. Pena scores. Longoria scores. 2 more runs in. It is 7-4. And Bartlett, the guy who started the inning with the double, drives in 2 with a base hit right back through the middle. And the brooms are coming out again for Tampa Bay.
Jason Bartlett brought over here from Minnesota for his glove to shore up the defense at shortstop. Matt Garza in that trade to shore up the rotation to give him a three punches. But you know what? The bat has come through in this inning.
Bartlett's second hit in the inning, a 6-run 7th so far for the Rays. Here's Iwamura. The breaking ball finds the mark. He already has a hit in this inning, an RBI single. 5 hits, 3 walks. And a big rally against the stunned Red Sox. Off the corner, 1 ball and 1 strike. Iwamura, the 11th hitter in the 7th. Red Sox Nation in a stupor as well. Two balls, 1 strike.
It took Dice K about 48 pitches to get through the first 2 innings. It has now taken this relief corps 51 pitches to get to this point in this inning.
Tampa Bay in the lead 7-4. And ready for the sweep. 3-1. The Boston bullpen has come undone. Red Sox had a 4-1 lead going into the bottom of this 7th inning. And they're loving it here at Tropicana Field. A victory tonight over the Red Sox, and Tampa Bay leads by 3.5 games. Cut on and missed by Iwamura, now 3-2. So in this inning, 4 pitchers have come out of the Red Sox bullpen, surrendering 6 runs, throwing 53 pitches so far, giving up 5 hits, walking 3. That's over the course of 36 minutes for this half inning and counting. Check swing. No, he went, and the home plate umpire Davis rings him up to end the carnage. But Longoria comes up with a huge double. Bartlett came up with 2 hits and 2 RBIs, and they're all smiling with their brooms here in Tampa. Well, the Tampa Bay Rays, formerly the Devil Rays, trying to sweep the Boston Red Sox, in great shape right now to do that, up 7-4 going to the 8th inning. One defensive change. Gabe Gross will remain in the game in right field for the Rays. Glover still on and pitching to Brandon Moss here as he takes a strike. Underway in the 8th. 7 runs on 8 hits for Tampa Bay, 4 runs on 8 hits for Boston. And a stunning turn here as Tampa Bay scores 6 times against the Red Sox bullpen in the bottom of the 7th inning. They did that on the strength of 5 hits. The first 6 men in the bottom of the 7th all reached base. Swung on and foul tipped into the net. He struck him out. Down goes Moss, who is now 2 for 4 as we go to John Saunders in the studio for a Sports Center right now.
Well, Dave, the Seattle Supersonics will be playing in Oklahoma City next year, although they won't be called the Supersonics. Part of the agreement, they leave the name and the team colors in Seattle, but they will make the move. Cost them $75 million. And Brett Favre, well, they were saying he was considering coming out of retirement, that he had the itch. Favre has come out and said it's just a rumor. He's staying retired after 17 years. Dave.
It's just a rumor. All righty, John, thank you very much. Julio Lugo here. He's gone 1 for 3 tonight.
He didn't say I'm staying retired. He said it's just a rumor.
He said that's just a rumor. Yeah.
If I was going to be definite, I would say no, I'm still retired.
Sure. A lot of wiggle room there for Brett Favre. That one up high on Lugo. Ellsbury on deck. The Red Sox trying to shake themselves awake here as the Tampa Bay Rays have gone storming right by them in the 7th inning with 6 runs. Dan Wheeler is up in the bullpen. Very solid veteran for Tampa Bay. As part of their bullpen story, he's been a big anchor for them. Base is clean, 1 man out. Here's the 2-1 from Glover, and that misses. 3 balls and 1 strike on Lugo.
And one thing that Glover did to start this inning, he came in and he poured in strikes. Strike out on 3 pitches. He does not want to fall back into the walk pattern what the Boston bullpen showed.
3-1 pitch, and he does walk him with 1 man out. Lugo is aboard. So good speed off to first base, and tremendous speed coming up in Ellsbury, although he hasn't flashed much of it tonight. He has gone 0 for 3 and been hit by a pitch. And here comes Jim Hickey again. He wants a word with his right-hander. And another righty continues to work in the bullpen. The Red Sox bullpen is quiet here in the 8th inning. A 3-run lead for Tampa Bay. Well, you know, when you can't be home to watch your favorite Major League Baseball team, check out MLB.tv. Watch every out-of-market game this season live online. For more details, visit www.mlb.com, MLB.tv. Well, Javier Lopez and the Red Sox bullpen battered and bruised tonight on a night when Terry Francona really needed them more than usual because Daisuke Matsuzaka only went 5 innings. He did walk 5. They left with a chance for a victory, gave up 1 run and a couple of hits, and in fact going to the bottom of the 7th, the Red Sox had a 4-1 lead.
4-1 lead, but he handed it over a little bit early. When you do that, you risk getting into the weaker end of your bullpen.
Ellsbury takes a strike. The man on deck, Dustin Pedroia, has 3 hits tonight, but a homer and a triple and a double. So one more hit of a single variety, and he's got himself the cycle. The 0-1 pitch. Ellsbury takes inside. 1 ball, 1 strike.
I think that visit from Jim Hickey was a little bit of a stall visit to get Dan Wheeler ready. He didn't pitch last night. And I think that they were just trying to stall a little bit just in case this inning gets out of whack.
The 1-1 to the lefty hitter. Hit toward the hole. Down for it, Iwamura. Good play on to first base to get the out. Lugo advancing to second. But now 2 down. Iwamura very smooth backing up on that ball into the hole.
So that did not look like a third baseman that has moved over to second. Look at the range. Look at his timing of watching that hop and then really composed and spinning and losing first base before he throws it over to Carlos Pena. The alligator glove came through.
That's the view of it, and I believe that's the one that says Top Gun, although my Japanese will be severely tested.
Okay.
Top Gun stitched into that glove. Well, here's Pedroia with a runner at second base. He takes a strike.
I'll believe you.
You have no choice.
It's true. I have no choice.
Red Sox tonight just 2 out of 11 with men in scoring position, but this is by far their hottest hitter. And Pedroia with a chance to become the 21st man in Red Sox history to bat for the cycle. He started off with a homer and then tripled his next at bat, so he got the real tough ones out of the way quickly.
And that double down the right field line, a high fastball. And then what, he popped to center his last at bat.
Pedroia has also been outstanding defensively for the Red Sox all season long. The 0-1 fouled away, and he's behind in the count 0-2.
Well, he's picked on some high pitches tonight. The first one, the high fastball for the home run that he pulls. The second one, a high changeup that he hits in the left center gap for the triple. And then the double was a high and away fastball, stayed on top of it. And all of those to a little guy, didn't pop any of them up. Good top hand hitting tonight.
Now the fans rising all over Tropicana Field. 2 out, 2 strikes. 1-2 now on Pedroia. If he reaches, J.D. Drew would be up next here in the 8th. You talk about the difference between hitting for the cycle and the no-hitters. It's slightly tougher to throw a no-hitter.
I didn't get any of those. Couple one-hitters. It's my fault they're behind.
Lugo leading at second. Here comes the 1-2. Fouled away, poked off to the right to hang in there.
Well, Dustin Pedroia is a really good 2-strike hitter. Great eye-hand coordination. I'll guarantee you, with a chance to hit for the cycle and the drive in this run, he is not going to strike out with the bat on his shoulder.
He is one of the top 6 or 7 most difficult strikeouts in the American League. 2 down on the 1-2 pitch from Glover. Swing, and that one toward the alley. On the move, Crawford. He won't get there. That's going to bounce and roll. He scoops it up on the warning track. It'll be a double and a run-scoring double for Dustin Pedroia. That is his 4th extra base hit tonight and makes it 7-5 Tampa Bay. He hit that one a little too far, but he'll take the 2-bagger, and here comes Madden.
Well, it's not a cycle, but it's a cycle plus. This one on a fastball down the middle just does a good job. That's a big 2-strike swing, but the eye-hand coordination is off the charts.
So Madden to dip into his outstanding bullpen here. A game that has tightened up here in the top of the 8th. The Tampa Bay lead is down to 2, and we'll be back. Well, Dan Wheeler coming out of the bullpen for Joe Madden. That makes 10 pitchers already who have been used in tonight's game.
Well, Dan Wheeler is used to these situations, brought over here to stabilize this bullpen pitch at the end of the game. Then Troy Percival signed to be the closer. The one reason Percival came here is because the Tampa Bay Rays said, we will let you close. But that might fall on Dan Wheeler's shoulders now that Percy's on the DL with the hamstring problem.
J.D. Drew, the hitter, he has a triple and a single tonight. He's gone 2 for 3. 2 down. And the first one is inside and low for ball 1. Drew hitting .304 with 16 homers. The American League Player of the Month for June. Looks like he's starting to heat up again after a chilly spell. Manny Ramirez, who's in a deep slump, is on deck. Pedroia, after his double and his 4th hit of the game, is at second. High pop-up, twisting foul off third. Longoria looking for room but won't have any. Dan Wheeler, the right-hander, is the son-in-law of Rays TV broadcaster Dwayne Statz. So it's a pretty fair bet. Dan Wheeler has never heard a critical word coming out of the television booth of the Tampa Bay Rays. Nah, it's not actually true, but I mean,
You'd probably hear it from his daughter if he did.
That's where it comes from. Wheeler fires and missed the outside corner. 2 balls, 1 strike. And Dan Wheeler with no runs allowed in 15 out of 17 appearances. He was dubbed the wrecking ball for being the last pitcher to stand on the mound of Old Busch Stadium in St. Louis in October of '05 before it was demolished. Little floater toward right center coming on Upton. He'll get there to make the catch, and the side is retired. Red Sox chip away a bit. They grab another run. We go to the bottom of the 8th. 7-5 Tampa Bay. Well, the big half inning of the night, a 6-run 7th for Tampa Bay. It started with a Bartlett double down the right field line. He would then steal third, shaken up on the play, but he hung in there. And he would score moments later on the Iwamura base hit. That ruled a single and an RBI. Pena took ball 4 right after Upton had, and then Longoria with the bases loaded slammed the double that scored 2 runs. Shortly after that, Bartlett, batting for the 2nd time in the inning, cracked a 2-run single up the middle. And they're at it again here in the bottom of the 8th as Crawford knocks one into right center field. Kyle Crawford with a base hit, his 3rd of the ball game. So they keep on swinging against Lopez and company. And Tampa Bay's lead now 7-5. The Red Sox get one of them back in the top of the 8th inning. But you go back to that 6th inning, and as the season wears on, if they continue to lead this division and stay in the hunt, Joe Madden and his team are going to go back to that 6-run 7th as a watershed moment for them, really in the history of the franchise.
Well, it's just absolutely amazing the way they kept patching it together and scraping.
Tap by Upton to the right side. Got the out on the tag. Got the 2nd out on the throw. A double play. 4-3. And quickly 2 down in the Tampa Bay 8th inning.
And anybody who's watched our game, watches it on SportsCenter or Baseball Tonight, and sees the highlights and still wonders, are the Rays going to be able to hold on? You think about the starting pitching they have, the bullpen depth that they have, the way their offense keeps coming at you. It's not based on one guy. They've got tremendous defense and team speed, and they've got a great skipper at the helm in Joe Madden.
They're playing with such confidence right now. And they've focused it. Here's Pena. He drew that bases loaded walk back in the 7th inning. The Red Sox are going to get Jonathan Papelbon, who hasn't worked in a while, loosened up in their bullpen. But a big time comeback for Tampa Bay. They lead at 7-5. They're going for the sweep of the Red Sox, who came in here a half game out of first and could leave 3.5 games behind the Rays. The talk of baseball on this Wednesday night in July.
From worst to first. It might be from worst to first to best.
36,048 on hand tonight, most of whom would agree they are right now looking at the best team in Major League Baseball. The record says so at 51-32. With a win tonight, they go to 33-13 here at Tropicana.
24-15 against the East, their own division.
And what you'd have to call a fortuitous schedule coming up immediately for them for the rest of the month of July. They count 2 balls, 2 strikes. Trying to build an advantage to hold off the Red Sox and perhaps the New York Yankees. The Yankees at 7.5 games off the pace at the moment.
The Red Sox go to New York. Tampa Bay gets Kansas City.
Fouled away at the plate by Pena, who has drawn a couple of walks. He's also struck out twice tonight. Evan Longoria, who has quickly become Dick Vitale's favorite player in the on-deck area. He's had a big night with 3 RBIs. An impressive third baseman. That one up high, and the count 3-2.
Well, last night with 2 outs and a man on first, he made a backhand stop down the line that actually that game was in balance at 2-1 with 2 out man on first. It saved a run. And then tonight in key situations everywhere with his bat he comes through.
Big shift on for Pena. He swings right into it. Little bounding ball to Youkilis, and the side will be retired. We go to the 9th inning, and due up for the Boston Red Sox, Manny Ramirez, Mike Lowell, and Kevin Youkilis against Wheeler. Our Wednesday Night Baseball line scorer, and Tampa Bay trying to hang on and sweep the Boston Red Sox. Tampa Bay's biggest fan is, of course, Dick Vitale, and he's got his Orel Hershiser signed ball. He's happy as heck.
Well, thanks to our runners coming up here to pick it up and send it down to Dickie V. Maybe I get a shot at one of those autographed baseballs that Evan Longoria got before the game.
Little trade out. Oh, up and over the head of Manny Ramirez, who goes tumbling out of there. A pitch 74 miles an hour, bringing a grin to Manny's face. He has gone 0 for 4 tonight.
There's a little breaking ball. He is 1 for 10 in this series, but you watch this little backup breaking ball Wheels throws. Oh, Manny, don't worry. Manny is working so hard in his swing and concentrating on getting a strike. Probably got his front shoulder tucked in there, his eyes tucked in, and all of a sudden it's at him. He's like, oh, I'm not concentrating on getting out of the way.
Rounded to deep short. Tough play for Bartlett. He throws it high, and that one caroms off the side fence. Manny Ramirez knocking that one to the deep shortstop position. Bartlett with a very tough play. Well, his throw had a whole lot of air under it. The Red Sox have the leadoff man on at first base, and the tying run coming to bat in Mike Lowell.
Well, it's deep in the hole. Bartlett's got a good baseball clock right here. He knows Manny's running. Davey Concepcion would have bounced that throw against the artificial surface. Back in Cincinnati, he kind of invented that play. Bartlett decided to throw it all the way in the air and got a little too much elevation.
Well, they rule it a base hit for Ramirez.
Very generous.
Lowell hitting .295, but 0 for 3 tonight. He's hit 12 home runs. If he knocks it out of the ballpark, the Red Sox will have tied it here in the 9th inning. The hits are even at 9. He takes Lowell for ball 1. Well, now they have reversed it. The official scorer has changed his mind. He's been chastised by Orel Hershiser, and count that now as an E6.
Does he have the volume up in the booth over there?
I had no idea you were that intimidated.
Okay. Probably just misspoke, not misjudged.
Yeah, well, 2 errors on the night for Tampa Bay. That's across for a called strike.
And that's a rarity. I think they had 3 errors last night. This is a very sound defensive team. That error comes back to haunt them here in the 9th. That has not happened very often this year. Have 1 error behind the plate with their catcher, 1 at second base, 4 at third base, Gold Glover at first.
A strike. Now 1-2 on Lowell. Youkilis would hit next. Tampa Bay rallying to score 6 times in the bottom of the 7th inning against a crumbling Red Sox bullpen, and it is 7-5 Rays. They're going for a sweep here over Boston. Outside 2-2. Mike Lowell taking a step, getting a good look on a 90-mile-an-hour pitch. Both Lowell and Youkilis swinging a couple of the hotter bats, along with Dustin Pedroia on the Red Sox these days. Ramirez at first. Swing fouled back by Lowell, and he's still in there.
Tampa Bay has 25 saves this year, 19 by Troy Percival. 3 other players have 2. Balfour, Howell, and Dan Wheeler. Wheeler looking to break the tie tonight.
Balfour, the Australian. Howell, the lefty, not available to Madden tonight. They've worked too much in the series already. The 2-2. Slapped into right field. That's going to drop down for a base hit. Manny Ramirez rounding second. He's heading into third. And the throw is cut off. They're safe on the corners. And the Red Sox are trying to rally here in the 9th inning. Down 7-5, but have 2 men on. That brings alive Red Sox Nation here at Tropicana Field.
Well, the door's ajar, and the fans are debating on who they're going to root loudest for. Mike Lowell grinds out an at-bat after the error by Bartlett. The door cracks open, and Mike Lowell with a 2-2 pitch really worked hard on this at-bat. It looked like a typical Boston Red Sox AB throughout 9 innings of grinding it out, but the Red Sox are coming alive at the plate now. And Lowell takes that ball the opposite field. Manny Ramirez cruises into third. And a feisty Lowell trying to lead his club back.
Now the bullpen is empty for Tampa Bay, so this is on Wheeler. Here's Youkilis. He's been intentionally walked twice. He has gone 0 for 2. Nobody out in the 9th inning, and Lowell skips back in. Manny Ramirez over at third.
At one point in this game when Boston was up 4-1, we talked about shortening the game to get to this gentleman. Well, now with a chance to get back in it, he is back up.
Papelbon loosening. Inside, in on the hands. They count 1-0. Youkilis did not have a hit last night. Does not have a hit yet tonight. Though he is swinging a pretty hot bat for Boston. He is a double play candidate as he takes high. 2-0. Well, it was the Red Sox bullpen that completely collapsed in the 7th inning. Tampa Bay has had one of the most reliable bullpens in baseball since opening day. But Wheeler is having his issues all of a sudden here in the 9th with a 2-run lead. Nobody out. That's a called strike. 2-1. The pen totally reworked after last year, posting an ERA over 6. Right now ranked 5th in ERA and 1st as far as stranding inherited runners.
And that's a huge turnaround from worst in the last 50 years.
Youkilis swings and taps a foul. 2 balls, 2 strikes. The man on deck mired in a terrible slump, Jason Varitek. He's 0 for 3 tonight with 2 more strikeouts. You have to wonder, even though he's the captain and a heart and soul guy for the Red Sox, if Varitek comes up with the bases loaded, is Terry Francona going to let him hit?
Kevin Cash, Sean Casey, Alex Cora.
Down 2-2, nobody out. Swinging a high fly ball to right center. Backing up, Upton still backing up, reaches up and makes the catch on the warning track. Here comes Ramirez in to score. That makes it 7-6. Well, that ball really took off the bat of Youkilis and almost knocked it out of here. Upton able to run that down onto the warning track. One man gone. Youkilis picking up his 51st RBI. Orel.
He hit this, but he was in cruise control the whole way. But this ball had great backspin and carry. But the fact that he never really had to run hard kept his eyes still. Kevin Youkilis really caught all of it. He thought he got it. Maybe extra bases. Expletives tell how he feels about it, but he thought he got one.
Lowell still at first base, one out. Here's Varitek. He has struck out, grounded out, struck out again, and he takes high for ball one. And Varitek has meant so very much to the Red Sox in their 2 World Series championships. He is locked in one of the worst slumps of his career, all the way down to 217. A 1-run game with that tying run on at first base and Mike Lowell. Sports Center is waiting. This one approaching 4 hours, although it has been a dandy. And Tampa Bay on the verge of sweeping the Boston Red Sox there at Tropicana Field. The runner goes, and it's ripped but fouled on the right field line. The best swing that Varitek has taken in maybe 10 days.
Well, when you least expect it to break out of a slump, sometimes the most pressure and the most needed time, all of a sudden you lock in. Gets his foot down early enough, gets the bat through the zone, and that front foot did get down early. That ball wasn't even in your picture, and he's got his front foot down and ready to hit and launch that bat. He's been late a lot tonight. That one he was on time.
Lowell was running with that pitch. One man out. The 1-1, he takes off again, swung on and missed. Here's the throw, and he's going to be out by a mile. Down he goes. They put him in motion, and Mike Lowell, who is not fleet of foot, is cut down for out number 2. So that erases the tying run from the bases. Well, that one's hard to figure. Varitek had ripped the foul. Can't come up with this one, and Lowell's an easy out.
Yonder Navarro just puts it right there. Mike Lowell, third baseman, not fleet of foot at all. No panic. Strike the second base, and you get the second out.
Lowell with 1 stolen base on the year. That certainly is not his game, and he was out by a mile. So listen to this crowd with all their brooms at Tropicana Field, 1 strike away from sweeping the Red Sox. Fouled back by Varitek.
So many different things that make you think the Rays are going to be able to do this. So many different things tell me that Boston's under pressure, and they know it.
Well, the Red Sox will have some questions to answer if it ends right here on why Mike Lowell was running there. The 2-2 pitch in there for strike 3, and this one's over, and Tampa Bay has swept the Red Sox. Final score 7-6 Rays. They pushed their lead in the East to 3.5, and those brooms came in handy tonight. The Red Sox, their bullpen in shambles in the 7th inning as Tampa Bay scored 6 runs in the bottom of the 7th inning to come from 4-1 down, and they win the ball game 7-6. And Joe Madden has this entire area believing that the Rays are the real deal, the best record in the majors. Well, that says that they are.
Well, there was a lot of persistence tonight, a lot of hustle, a lot of character. When you fall behind, you keep coming. And they were led back by Jason Bartlett, a guy hitting the 9-hole, and then it got fouled through by a rookie at third base, Evan Longoria, and then the bullpen finished the deal.
Tampa Bay wins it 7-6. Pedroia, despite 4 hits tonight, all for extra bases, goes for naught. Well, next on ESPN, it's SportsCenter. And for more on this game, and we're going to have plenty, tune into our post-game extra on ESPN News. Tampa Bay has swept the Red Sox here at Trop for the 2nd time this season. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. Along with Orel, Hershiser, and Aaron Andrews and our entire crew, I'm Dave O'Brien. Good night from Tampa, and thanks for watching. Now, let's go to SportsCenter.